To be called great, you must have a great beginning. Z, Luna, and Rattel, to name a few, all have the opportunity to do something great in their first international semifinal taking place later today. But first, the near unstoppable behemoth in Dakun Gaming challenged the faith of the Filipino in a rising team secret. The first international Wild Rift semis starts right now.
I've live and breathed Wild Rift.
We have gone through the best of the best.
It's now or never.
That was massive.
This is gonna be hype.
This is your moment to shine. It's down to this final play.
Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me, you're not bigger than me.
It's semifinal Saturday in Singapore as the 4 teams from 3 regions fight for 2 spots in the finals. Welcome everyone to the Horizon Cup semifinals. I'm Digon here with the Rocky Zoro and Smax, who's wearing a ditto on his head. Smax, what's up with that, man?
Oh, well, I guess that is a ditto. I don't think it's sentient on my head, but it is comfortable.
Well, you look very comfy. And yesterday, we saw Rolster Y and Team Secret take care of business by 3-0ing their way through the first part of knockouts. And if you miss these matches and see the series scores, you might think you didn't miss much, but you'd be wrong, as the details of 3-0s said a lot about these squads, Max.
And you know what, Digon? Team Secret finally lived up to the hype that we've been setting all throughout this tournament of having 5 different carry players on their team. Chewy finally got in on the action on a stellar early game performance on the solution here in game 1. This was a really big knockout punch for us, and it really solidified that Team Secret do have that 5 carry playstyle.
Again, Azar, Tatsuri, Trevor have all shown up before with this play on Lucian against multiple different Malphites, right? You had a Malphite on the support role, you had Malphite at the carry role, did not slow down Chewy, so it was great to see that from him. And that wasn't the only semifinals we had, though. We had Rolster Y take care of business against Sengoku Gaming here, Araki.
Yeah, I mean, they won their quarterfinals and made it to the semis 3-0. But the way they did it is a little bit concerning because their performance yesterday against Sengoku was a little shaky. It was close all throughout, definitely a lot closer than the scoreline tells you. It was slow paced, and a lot of the time it came down to very small margins in team fights where luckily for KT, they were the better team mechanically and synergistically, but letting it get to that point in the first place, in my opinion, isn't that great for how their chances now look versus Thunder Talk Gaming.
Yeah, the games were very close back and forth, and these fights, Araki, were a lot of fun to watch, where we got to see a battle of dragon laners go back and forth. Luna in games 1 and 3, won in game 2, but the power of Rolster Y ended up winning out here.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I think Luna's performances have been really outstanding and really impressive. He always finds the positioning to dish out the maximum amount of damage while taking back the least amount of damage. It's really cool to watch.
All right, we'll get back to them in just a little bit. Let's turn to our first match of the day, where we get a look at Dakun Gaming for the first time in the knockout environment against Team Secret. DKG is a team which appears to be even more terrifying when you look at their team play. And to get some insight, I'm going to hand it on over to Professor Araki Zoro. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things about Dakun Gaming is that outside of Huiba, they're not actually the best players per se in their roles. What they are, however, is the best team. And I do have a couple of examples here to show you what I mean. And before we get into the first clip, let's take note of the draft from Game 3 of DKG's match versus Rolster Y in their group stage. And we're going to look at it from DKG's perspective. Key parts here to highlight are that DKG have a losing top matchup between the Renekton and the Fiora. Fiora on paper should be able to zone Renekton away from the wave, stack it against him, and then crash it under the tower with the support of her jungler and potentially kill him. And at the same time, the bot lane matchup against Corki and Alistar is something that's really difficult for DKG to play aggressively into because the Corki wave clear is a little too easy. These two factors combined make it so that DKG are in a situation where they have to play, as I like to call it, defense. Now let's roll the clip and see how DKG play defense. And as we get into it, keep your eyes on Diana and on the Renekton in the top lane. Knowing what's about to happen, DKG are preemptively communicating the situation. Renekton tells his team, hey, I'm already half health. they're stacking a wave, and I might die under tower. So what does DKG do given that Graves is not nearby? They shift towards the top side, meaning Diana is the one who comes to support her weak side laner, and as she gets there in time, Rolster can no longer go for the dive. Rolster lose out on an opportunity for first blood and all the minions they could have denied Renekton, and it's around the 700 gold denial away from KT. And at the same time, Graves does shift up to mid lane and catches the wave instead of Diana, which makes it so that DKG basically lose out on nothing, and at the same time put more resources into their main carry in Huiba. And then when we get to the second example, it's a similar situation, but it's a little bit later in the game, where we have DKG and KT trading Herald and Dragon, and generally when this happens, teams will also trade the opposite turrets immediately after. So as the play is happening, DKG anticipate what's to come next, and Diana pings her teammates that she needs help on the bot side of the map to defend the turret. So Garen starts pathing from mid down to through the jungle, and soon enough gets there to support Diana in clearing the wave, denying KT yet another opportunity for a kill and the turret on top of it. The value of this denial, on the other hand, is around 1500 gold, which is huge. And at the same time, DKG get the top tower on the other side of the map. And at the end of the second clip, you do notice that DKG have a 3k gold lead despite having 0 kills in that game, and it just so perfectly illustrates DKG's understanding of macro and how to support their weak side laners instead of just leaving them on an island alone to die, like we've seen almost every other team do in this tournament, but not DKG.
I love that, Professor. We got to start using the word shifting and not always defaulting to rotations here, Smacks, in the future. And we can't talk about DKG's defense without talking about their offense in Huiba, which isn't just about facilitating their star player, but facilitating that star player in the perfect meta for him, Smacks.
This meta was so well cracked open by Dakun Gaming on patch 2.5. The biggest change that happened in this patch was directed at jungle, and that's exactly the star carry on Dakun Gaming. The way that they saw the patch was twofold. One, the Rift Heralds now spawn twice, and this means that Baron is pushed back to after 12 minutes. This gives you more time to prepare for the 5v5 fight because you don't have that major objective that spawns at 10 minutes to worry about. You can save your carry for later. The other thing this patch did to help out carry jungle is make it so farming was more effective. You no longer had to just cycle your red quadrant over and over and then go for ganks immediately after that. You are more free to go and take your blue side camps and then also potentially go and counter invade as well, getting so many resources, and there's just no downtime for what Huiba's doing on champions like the Jax, like the Fiora. He's using his time very well.
Rocky?
Yeah, I love these kind of details because generally in the game and when you're watching the games play out, you don't really get to notice them very closely. But when we break it down and highlight why DKG are on another level, you get to understand what makes them who they are.
Well, their opponent's Team Secret finally conquered their demons in beating SBTC yesterday, and now they look to slay Goliath.
I'm more than happy for the team because this is like the best revenge match against SBTC. We had a history against them that we never beat them in any best of 5s, best of 3s. So this is the first series that we were actually able to beat them. This is like a proof that we are the #1 team in Southeast Asia. I'm very, very happy for that achievement for me and my team.
SBTC just getting destroyed on the objective. The triple over to Azar. Darius absolutely insane right now. The quadra kill.
Against DKG, since we had a lot of training against them, and like I could say that they're really a strong team, but after our win against SBTC, I think we're confident enough to take on them, and I think we can win against them. DKG has a lot of weaknesses, and for tomorrow's match, we're gonna expose it. Team Secret has what it takes to take the championship for the Horizon Cup. We can take on anybody.
Now, what makes this semi-final matchup so interesting is that it feels like to beat DKG's super defined style this tournament, Team Secret's going to need to pull out all the stops, and they have 3 different looks that they've shown throughout this Horizon Cup, haven't they, Smack?
Yeah, and they showed all 3 of them just yesterday in their quarterfinal against SBTC. Right here, we can take a look at the 3 different comps that they played. The first game, they had this composition that was very built around attacking bottom lane with the aggressive champions of Lucian and Lee Sin, and then Azar playing the Camille was off in the side lane, playing this 4-1 style that you could team fight, but was more about that early game. Game 2 was the Riku named Spooky Ghosts composition with all of the assassins jumping onto the backline. That also looked very sick. Very fun game to watch as well. You should go back and watch that one if you haven't. And then game 3 was the 5v5 team fight. And the biggest thing here is that they showed all 3 of them just yesterday. They looked very practiced. They looked very dominant on all of these. And they will need to pull out something to beat DKG. As you mentioned, they do have just that one defined style.
Yeah, and I guess the team that can play defense so well, such as DKG, as we just covered, having multiple playstyles to go to and what Team Secret have shown us thus far, it makes Team Secret a lot less predictable, and it makes preparing that defense against them a lot harder. In the game, there are indicators that you can always pay attention to know which side your opponents are trying to play, but I do think that Trevor is actually one of the smarter junglers that we have here at the Horizon Cup when it comes to masking their pathing and hiding how they want to play.
Well, you can see the stats right here. Hueba and Trevor are going to be our key matchup in this one because we know so much of the gold and a focus will be on Hueba for DKG, whereas Trevor has shown hard carry potential and also facilitation potential to still get ahead and give it out to the rest of his team. All right, y'all, prediction time for DKG versus Team Secret. And before we get to your picks, here's what Team Secret's Tatsuri told our Tigris yesterday about what he thinks will happen versus Dakun.
And you have another really difficult match coming up against Dakun Gaming. What are your thoughts on their performance thus far within the tournament and how you plan to take them down in the semifinal?
They're so strong team because but we can 3-0 them.
Ooh, 3-0. Team Secret sounds pretty confident. Do you agree? And Smax, we'll start with you.
I feel like it's probably going to be a 3-0, but I admire the confidence. I think it's going the other way, Degon. I think it's going to be DKG with 3-0. They just look so dominant, so gross with how good they are and how well they read on this patch. 3-0 for DK for me.
All right, 3-0. Rocky Zoro, are you there with him, Professor?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it straight as well. This is going to be a DKG clean sweep. I can see a world where Team Secret maybe takes one game, but I'm definitely not putting my money on it. So I'm going to go with the 3-0 for Dakun Gaming.
Yo! What do you need to see from Team Secret? They dismantled their demons that have been hunting them for almost a year now. They did it in multiple different styles. You can carry from any position. Put it on the board, baby. Team Secret going 3-0 here, baby. Who's with me? Let's go, chat. I know you're with me. It can't just be me. I'm in here with these 2 big brains here. Who's going to use some heart? Team Secret's going to use some heart and get themselves a victory. And I want to revisit that point that we had the graphic for real quick, Araki Zoro. That key matchup, Hueba versus Trevor, and how they both can play against each other and how they're going to find success for their teams.
Yeah. I haven't mentioned it on air in a while, but Hueba is my #1 player for the tournament. Outside of Z, I don't think even anyone gets close. And so while I do think they should remove Lee Sin away from Trevor, since it's by far his strongest jungler, I think even if he does get it, DKG and Hueba are so well versed in their playstyle of not getting caught up in the early game aggression that teams do throw at them, that I'm pretty sure they'll be just fine to scale and get to their stronger points.
All right, Smax. I know you don't think they're going to do it, but tell me how my Team Secret are going to get their wins today.
I may not think that they are, but Riku is probably there at home, right there with you. I'm going to say probably. She definitely is. But like I said before, they have these 3 different styles that they showed us yesterday, and a best of 5 is exactly the kind of environment that you want to have 3 different styles, because if they lose on one, they just try the second one. If they lose on that one, then they try the third. And by that point, if nothing sticks, then maybe DKG just really are the best team in the world. Maybe they're just destined to win.
Yeah, that would be all 3 losses in the series, Smax. Thank you for that. Good math here by Professor Smax as well. I'm just saying, hey, ban Jax, ban Fiora, make someone else beat you. Don't let Hueva be the one to do it. All right, y'all, it's time to get into the matchup here. Dakun Gaming and Team Secret. This is a huge one, and the winner will make it to the finals of the first ever international tournament, the Wild Rift Horizon Cup. The matchup starts right now.
There's action everywhere. This is Wild Rift at its best. That is it. Rolster Y will answer the call to the knockout stage. Team Secret finally getting justice.
We might honestly be seeing two of the best teams in the world.
China's Dakun Gaming going up against Team Secret of the Philippines.
Dakun, I feel confident saying they might be the best team here this entire tournament.
因为可能大家之前都是打职业打得比较久吧，线下比赛打得比较多，尽量打好自己的吧，我觉得。
They are not a team to be disrespected.
Against DKG, since we had a lot of training against them, I could say that they're really a strong team. But after our win against SBTC, I think we're confident enough to take on them.
With that Q again, out of the Lee Sin, Trevor can do no wrong.
DKG has a lot of weaknesses. This time we're not playing around. We will be serious.
Team Secret, they are showing off why they are one of the favorites here.
Team Secret has what it takes to take the championship. We will smash them.
일단 처음으로 목표했던 4강이 와서 기분은 좋고요. 4강 할 생각에 많이 설렙니다.
It's just easy cleanup for Rolster Y.
일단은 롤스터 Y의 멤버들은 전부 다 개인기량이 좀 뛰어난 것 같고 팀 간의 호흡도 잘 맞아서 강팀이 될 수 있었던 것 같아요.
Rolster, they're the ones in command of the map.
TT와의 경기도 좀 저희가 숨막히는 경기를 좀 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
On the top, they have maybe the best laner in the world with Z.
就是很想去跟 DKG 打，因为训练赛的时候我们也没有怎么打过，但是我们对于他还是很想去尝试的。
我们如果进了，就是能多观察观察，就是对手的能力吧，以及他们的 BP 以及他们的打法，这样让我们更好的去研究对面吧。
And look at Z blowing up one.
Oh,
That's
Chris,
two.
beautiful moon for Z, looking for the gold card. S12K, gonna make it sing.
只要他们4个，就我们5个嘛，能发挥出平常训练赛打出来的那种效果，我感觉打他们完全没有任何问题。
I live and breathe Wild Rift.
We have gone through the best of the best.
It's now or never.
That was massive.
This is gonna be hype.
This is your moment to shine. It's down to this final play.
Bigger than me, you're not bigger than me. Big up on the streets, but I'm bigger on the scene. Yeah, bigger than me.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the semi-finals of the Wild Rift Horizon Cup. I am BD Smith, and joining me is the man that is living and breathing Wild Rift. It is Scoundrel. How you doing, buddy? Good morning.
I can't stop cringing every time I hear that.
You can't
now.
get away from it anymore. That's it. That is your tagline.
The first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And now I just can't stop cringing. Anyway, let's focus in on this semi-finals, D-Man. I'm super excited for it. I think a lot of people are favoring DKG coming into this matchup, but I genuinely think this may be closer than we anticipate. A lot of it comes down to how well the Team Secret laners perform and the types of matchups they get. I think that Team Secret can play through mid. They can play through Azar in the Baron lane as well. You know, and those assassin-heavy styles, those are things that I don't think DKG have had to face yet. So I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out. I do think Team Secret are better maybe than we're giving them credit for. They have a very different play style they can work through, whereas we've seen what DKG like to do, tried and tested from the start.
Absolutely. And, you know, we cast DKG in the very first game of the tournament. At the time, they were against SBTC, and they just swept them aside. And we were sort of saying right then, they were two favorites for the tournament. Well, here at DKG, they're not up against SBT, so who were
in themselves, swept aside by Team Secret, a result that really went against the entire year that they've had so far. Is this the Goldilocks story now? Is this where Team Secret carry on, or do they meet their maker? We just heard from Arakizori there talking about, the fact that, the multiple styles that Team Secret showed throughout the quarterfinals and throughout the groups, the different comps that they have. And that could be very important here against DKG, who themselves have thrown a plethora of choices. And it did interest me, obviously, Degon's talking about, they've got to take away this, they've got to take away that from Huiba. But honestly, I think we're going to be in the stage where you got to ban almost every jungle champion to take something away from Huiba.
Yeah, speaking of bans, I'm glad to see the Galio out the window here. One of those strong anti-engage tools. Jax is being taken away here.
There we go. Okay, here we go.
Coach Degon is on Team Secret's side right now. It is going to be the Camille ban, so Azal will not get his hands on that. Again, a Fiora ban. So what's really interesting to me, though, is that Trebor, I'm glad to see the Lee Sin ban, because Trebor, apart from the Lee Sin, played a very similar style and very similar set of champions to what we saw Glaber go for. The Graves, exactly. The Graves is open.
Senna open. Oh, it's Ziggs. So okay, this is an interesting one. I think Ziggs, I would have to double check based off yesterday's stats, but I'm pretty sure he's still 100% pick and pan. But only had like a 45% win rate or something like that. It wasn't that great. But the Riven open. The Riven is huge in the East.
It is, and it's also obviously going.
Things are coming fast.
Yeah, they are. Now Tatsuri can play Riven mid. I think that's one of the things that I know. We'll get there. We'll get there, D-Man. I heard you. I heard your little gasp. Tatsuri can play Riven mid, but it is also something that does get frequently played in the jungle. We know that Aza will be taking Renekton, which is a very high priority pick to Baron lane. We've seen the Garen. That is not always likely to go over to YK. We've seen Emo play tank Garen support for DKG. And they're one of the only teams that will actually actively do that. With the fact that we've got Nunu being locked in here as well, I feel like this is going to be Tatsuri's Riven mid.
Oh, I'm very interested to see how this one's going to go. We're in a different game now. We are.
What now, Mike?
Okay.
What?
Okay, so Orianna, it could be Orianna support. We have had Orianna supports as well, but we got to assume that would go to Tatsuri.
Maybe
for now.
Maybe it's Nunu support.
Ooh, yes. That is something that's worked out well in the past, but okay, this is where we're going to see. This is really going to be a Garen top lane, or is it going to be a Garen? It's not a Garen support. Okay, Leona comes in. Okay. So this means it's probably a Ziggs Leona bot lane.
What I really like, I agree. What I really like about the Garen being now put towards top is actually there aren't any bad matchups on the other side of the field. Like, he's good into Riven and he's good into Renekton, like decent into Renekton anyway. So he actually wins or goes even in both of these matchups, and you're going to limit the power that you get on the top side of the map here for Team Secret. Kha'Zix comes through, so that's going to be Yo playing the Z mid. We're going to have the Garen top and obviously Kha'Zix for Huiba in the jungle. Team Secret's draft is spicy, though. That is a really, really, really kind of unique draft that we're seeing from them right now. We'll see whether the Orianna could even be in the AD carry position, by the way. We have seen AD carry Orianna a little bit versus Ziggs sometimes. When I say AD carry, I just mean Dragon Lane carry. Yes,
yeah, wow.
Okay, so it will be Dragon Lane carry Orianna versus the Ziggs. That is something that actually even popped up way back in Europe. I don't know if you remember, D-Man. Game Lord sometimes played this.
Yeah. Okay. So I am confused. It's going to be like such a confusing matchup with both bands. They're both pulling out something interesting. We are in the semi-finals. Now is the time to sort of throw caution to the wind, as it were, especially in game one of a best of 5.
It's really interesting. You look at Team Secret, they have a Loctite team fight comp with a bit of split push pressure because you have the Renekton and the Riven that can do that, but they aren't obviously as strong at split pushing as some of the more sort of dedicated split push carries. But I would say that their team fight is Loctite. That 5v5 is disgusting. You've got Renekton, Nunu, and Alistar on the front line to help protect and create space for Riven and the Orianna. But obviously, to me, the crutches are whether Orianna and Riven do well in this comp. Because obviously, if you get towards late game or you get towards mid game, your Orianna's behind and your Riven's behind, you're severely lacking damage for Team Secret. Whereas DKG, they don't really have a strong team fight, realistically. Like, both Kha'Zix and Zed can be shut down pretty easily versus this type of comp. And for DKG, it feels like they're going to want to try and err away from team fights and try and use Ziggs to just play mid lane waves, and then maybe look for a split push where Yo and Hueba kind of function in the side lanes. It's a very weird comp from DKG, personally.
I'm struggling to see, and as someone that used to be a Kha'Zix main many years ago now, I'm struggling to see the weak target that he's going to try and separate and taste the fear and get everything going on them, because they are going to be a clump. I mean, look at that. Orianna's technically the weak target, but look how many tanky units are around her to try and prevent it. Yeah, it's going to be very hard for Hueba, but you know what? I don't second guess Hueba. they make him the carry so often, but I just don't see it with the Kha'Zix.
I mean, if they try and 5v5 this, if they're not ludicrously ahead, like, you got to remember that Dakun sometimes take these comps that don't look like they should be able to team fight, but because they have so much gold, by the time they come to actually team fight, it doesn't matter. Unless they get to that state versus Team Secret, you don't win 5v5s versus Team Secret. So Team Secret with the Nunu, clearly very objective, focused gameplay coming on. But we're on to our first game here, D-Man. Semi-finals of the Horizon Cup. I am hyped.
Can you feel it? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Do we get any level 1 shenanigans? I very much doubt it. If it were, it would go heavily in favor of DKG to start with. It is all about the tankiness. We are expecting to keep our eyes peeled. Some very interesting dragon lanes. You know, Ziggs Leona versus Orianna Alistar. A little explosive start there with the Riven Zed to begin with as well. So, going to be a very interesting start here, no doubt about it.
No major level 1s you can get from an Alistar, obviously, but the Orianna picked up for this particular reason, just able to put a bit of pressure on Ziggs early on. Ziggs usually likes to get lane prio and just push waves from the very get-go, but Orianna kind of stops that in its tracks. And this is something that we saw Europe kind of pioneer as an answer. It was Game Lord specifically that tried to pioneer this as an answer in the bot lane. They were a team that were very keen to run these types of AP carries as an answer to Ziggs overall. And I'm loving this right now from Team Secret. Super aggressive bot lane.
Both of them, aggressive top, aggressive mid, everybody sort of chest thumping, as it were, trying to get their prowess set. Who is the stronger? No doubt these guys would have scrimmed each other. They've all been in and around Singapore for, well, what would be probably close to a month by now. They've certainly been practicing hard, and the Southeast Asia and China region certainly not too far apart from one another, would be able to practice as well. But here we go. We've been talking about this. Obviously, we're mentioning about the shifting. You got to keep your eyes on the jungle paths of Trevor, and Hueba. Very interested to see how this one's going to work out, though. We're going to see whether they do support each other, whether they go with any of that vertical split. That's a great pulverize, but it may well cost James here. Almost got locked up in the chain.
And we have a potential 2v2 with a rotation upcoming from Emo. Trevor is here. This is not what you want to get locked into as Team Secret very early on. I don't think you want these early fights.
Emo doing a very good job at completely zoning them out there. That's going to be James surely focused on. The Zenith Blade goes in. Oh, it's a messy one, that's for sure. But it could go heavily in DKG's way. They do get themselves a 2-for-1, sorry, because they lost Emo.
I really didn't think that you want to take that fight as Team Secret. Your Orianna, she's very good, like early lane aggression, but she does struggle in terms of that damage towards level 4 and 5. You need those items to back you up. Tatsuri was the only brawler that I think was going to be strong in the smaller skirmishes. Let's have a look at the act replay here. You can see again, Hueba jumps in, bakes himself out, and obviously Tatsuri doesn't commit because Emo's there. I think Tatsuri maybe could have committed, and that might have, given a bit more of an edge. But this engage from James, you have to respect how tanky the Leona can get with her Sunlight and with her second ability. Just gives her so many early resistances, especially because you've got it at level 2 when you are level 4. And I just think the brawling power of DKG at this stage of the game in the smaller skirmishes was much stronger. You have to respect that.
I feel that they thought, okay, we've got it in a 4v3. Just we're expecting Win to stay with the lane. I'm not too sure, but obviously up he came, got himself the quick kill, and helps himself out with the assist as well. So obviously gold still pretty much balanced between the two, because obviously there were other lanes still farming away. So nothing too critical or damning for either team yet, despite the 2-1 engagement. But here we go. This is where we ordinarily start to see our first team setup fight. 20 seconds to go. Rift Herald and of course the Dragon coming up. But at the moment, this Dragon lane is staying very proactive.
And yeah, usually we'd have seen a rotation by now as well. Like we usually have seen like the Ziggs go towards the mid lane, and that would allow them to gain automatic mid lane priority, which allows you to then just move towards the objective that your team is posturing around. Haven't yet seen that, but it is now. Looks like it's happening. Looks like we're going to see Wind and Emo head towards that mid lane. So a little bit late to the punch on that rotation. And you've now seen Yo maneuver his way down the map. Look at this as well. This is a classic example of what Iraqi was talking about. Hueva's like, I'm never getting to those Krugs before they respawn, right? Yo, take them right now. Like, and by the time that I ever get to a point where I'm coming towards the Krugs, they might have respawned for me. They're making sure they're not losing any gold on the map. They are being so efficient by the way they distribute their gold between their carries. And that's something that I think DKG do better than any other team in the game right now.
Decent fall price, but it is only on Leona. Already had the shield up, so Emo not taking too much damage. It does mean we have the explosive mid laners now down on the Dragon lane, and that has come very much in the favor of Tatsuri. Yo's going to have to send back. They are going to try and finish off this Rift quickly, but Trevor's coming in. Is he going to be able to smite it? No, doesn't get there in time. Quaver manages to get the smite off. Chewy now the focus. Hammers doing a fantastic job of trying to get them out, but they are outnumbered in the pit. DKG choose to disengage. They got themselves a Herald. They got themselves the kill on Trevor.
Yeah, just a little bit of an sort of out position there for Team Secret again. They need to be set up really well. Oh, Chewy!
He is gone.
Oh, Yo, just picked something back up there. I love that he had that ultimate still available. Didn't bother expending it versus Tatsuri. Knows that he can go into a 1v1 versus Tatsuri and be, out of position. This was just a little bit awkward from Team Secret. They were completely split here. You can see the Trevor completely isolated by himself in that Rift Herald pit. Takes a load of damage from Quaver before he even gets into the middle of the team fight. Really, you want Azar to be setting up when he's got that dominance flowing on the Renekton, but unfortunately, it was just very disjointed from Team Secret. They need to play a very grouped up front-to-back style if they want to deal with DKG in these smaller skirmishes. Remember, talked about how strong Team Secret's teamfight is, but they do need the correct setup to make it work. And right now, DKG are punishing even the smallest micro out of positions that we're seeing from Team Secret.
Yeah, just a little too late to the party. Weren't about to get involved in this one. And Quaver's doing a very good job at zoning out Tatsuri there, in and away from that bottom turret. So Dragon turret looks like it's going to go that way, but they are trying to group up and answer this Team Secret in and around the mid, but I feel they're just sort of chasing the game at the moment, trying to be reactive to what DKG do, not playing their own game, which may well cost them here.
The only problem that I think I see with Team Secret's comp, over anything else, is the fact that Chewy really is the linchpin of the comp, right? For the real late game threat to come through, you're basically playing how hard can we protect Chewy, and if Chewy gets strong enough, we have all this front line so that Oriana can consistently pump out damage throughout these team fights, and if we're able to just collapse around her, there's no real way that DKG are going to be able to kill her easily, especially once she has that stasis to kind of prevent Yo's damage coming through. So that's the only problem that I have for Team Secret, and obviously because Tatsuri hasn't exactly snowballed here, I think that their side lane pressure and their ability for Tatsuri to flex in this Riven is a little limited right now. So Team Secret's falling 4,000 gold behind. Chewy is not accelerating. He's actually about 1,300 down. And
Tatsuri's in trouble! I was talking about the taste of fear. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We know Quaver can be a scary carry, and he gets things going. I tell you what, diving on a Zen on a turret, that is a dangerous, dangerous thing to do. He's so mobile, so maneuverable, and they couldn't do anything about it.
You could see they were desperate to make a cross-map play. Honestly, Quaver, he's just too good, man! Every opportunity that Quaver finds, just to find that slight opening in the armor, the slight weakness to exploit, and he is there, ready to do it. Team Secret, out of sorts on map, their vision is just a little bit lackluster right now, and Quaver is walking through the enemy jungle and exploiting it.
3-man knock-up could be enough. Quaver has to jump away. Emo jumps away. YK is going to get caught up in the process, but he is a Garrett, a big tanky machine. And while they did get what was one of the perfect executions, they get nothing for it.
They had both Gargoyle enchants on Emo and YK, and they were too hard to burst out. And I think right now, DKG, again, we've talked about it, they're so good at accelerating gold in the early game that even if their comp might not look like it can team fight, at this stage in the game, you have what we call gold advantage team fights. And that's just where you can have the worst team fight comp in the world, And yes, your Kha'Zix shouldn't be able to function versus a Renekton, a Nunu, a Ribbon. But because he's so bloody fed, it doesn't matter. He can do what he wants. And Hueba goes where he pleases pretty much all the time.
He's doing so much damage already. He's looking scary. He's just going to chase down that cow. He wants a bit of beef, that's for sure, but he's not going to find it. Will get himself a second one. And Nunu will take a big chomp on Willem. And away he goes to the mid.
What I really find interesting about the priority and levels on evolutions for the Kha'Zix and Weber as well is that he's gone for the Void Spikes evolution really early on. That is an evolution that you would choose if you are looking to be more teamfight orientated. You're looking to be a bit more effective in these teamfight situations. And Weber said, well, okay, we're doing so well. I actually think that we can take them on in the 5v5 right now. And he's gone for that evolution specifically so that he is just more effective with his gold in these teamfight scenarios.
It's working out so far. We were wondering which and where they were going to find their targets, but at the moment, Team Secret are just found wanting. The second Rift Herald was picked up with ease. DKG not even contested. Second Dragon's going to come up. This may well be an engagement they want to go for, but I don't think they're in a position to. All 5 members are in and around here, but look at DKG. They go where they please. They're just running through. It's actually James. They know that James is the main engager, and yeah, he's going to have to pop everything to keep himself alive, and they just bully him back.
Gonna get the Eclipse up on Ema. He should be able to escape it with the Gargoyles too. Taken down low, but he will be fine there, D-Man. But Trevor wants him.
Oh my god, they're turning back around. And in comes Yo. Yo getting the damage down, and it's going to be YK that will pick himself up the kill onto Trevor. And now they turn and run. Yo wants more. Weber just saying, guys, the dragon's up. Just back away. I gotta go get the dragon.
10k gold lead at 10 minutes. You're looking at the finest team in Southeast Asia being mauled by DKG. This is not close. I don't want to put up any false pretenses here. This is a rollicking by DKG.
I don't want to be too harsh, but didn't the game only release a couple of months ago in China? I mean, I'm just saying.
They've got plenty of experience from past mobile titles, trust me. They are very experienced mobile MOBA players in the Chinese scene, and I think DKG have had a lot of transferable skills, let's say that. It has been exciting to watch this region very quickly get away from Wave, but they've overextended.
You can't lock him down, he'll just turn it back on you, and in comes the rest of the team. Zenith's playing locking down Trevor there. James in all sorts of trouble, and those Void Spikes, I tell you what, they took half the health off Chewy straight away, and this is just going to be a full tower dive. Have they gone a little too far here? They are tanking without the minions. They do throw down the Rift Herald to keep themselves alive, but they are going 2 towers in, and Yo will still get himself the kill and the tower.
I love how Yo is absolutely styling on Zed, but that is such a Tatsuri pick as well. Like, they drafted it so early on as, they denied it really from Tatsuri. And Yo is absolutely styling on it. Like, he's showing he's just as good as Zed as Tatsuri is. 2-0-2, but he's got a huge amount of gold, hasn't died, he's had some big impacts, but really the name of the game, once more, is Hueba. You cannot talk about DKG without talking about Hueba. And again, you think he's caught out here, he's so aggressively pushing for this Gromp to deny as many resources as possible. And like you said, pops the camouflage, jumps back in, takes down the Nunu, who's been absolutely slaughtered in the jungle. Trevor has not had an impact whatsoever. And as you mentioned, at this point, it's just massive gold advantage for DKG. They are so far ahead in Ice Fight, they can do what they like in these team fights.
Absolutely. It's just chasing now. They're having fun. And, I mean, while they're having fun, they're also making a bit of a statement here. Oh, YK getting caught under the tower, as is Emo, but they can see Yo goes in. He might be able to clean up. Gets 1. Can he get 2? Asa goes down, and then he's going to get picked off by Weber. And they are styling. And this is almost a mentality check, if anything, coming out from DKG, just saying, this is what we can do to you in game 1. Just imagine how it's going to be in game 2, getting in the minds of Team Secret.
Can I be real honest with you? This is what we call in Wild Rift throwing a Rift Scuttler. This game was just like, Team Secret did not need to fight Rift Scuttle, okay? You have a Nunu. Nunu is not a 1v1 champion. He's not supposed to brawl. He's just supposed to happily farm away and become a bit of a tanky beast in the mid game, right? This is a game that Team Secret could have very happily said, you have bottom scuttle, we'll take top scuttle. Gentleman's agreement. And they kind of didn't. And I think that gave Hueba a platform to just run away with the game. Of course, like the Rift Herald fight was another big one where you threw a Rift Herald there. That was just, again, a poorly coordinated engage from Team Secret. But I feel like they've made incorrect decisions from about 3 minutes into the game right here.
Yeah, so obviously we had a lot of discussions yesterday. You know, I'll get back to that in a moment. YK may well go down here for the first time. Can they get him picked off? Yes, they do. YK goes down, but in comes the rest of the team. And look at that massive damage spike. I think that was a single combo from Yo there that just took all of them down. Impactful. While they do get a single kill, it is going to be another T2 turret going down. And we're on to the final inhibitor turret here. And that's all that's left here for Team Secret. A glimmer of hope. Not really. 18,000 gold down. I don't think there's any coming back from this.
No. I would like to say so, but when you're 2 inhibitors down and you can't even get into your own jungle right now, you are being starved of resources left, right, and center. It's a bit of a rough spot, and you can see Yo just like taunting Team Secret right here. It's going to be the 3rd dragon of the game, uncontested over to DKG. The Baron is up if they really want it to. It's a slaughtering by DKG. 15k gold on our boy Hueba.
Yeah, he's been involved in almost everything. 5-0-5. Hammers getting focused. YK in there. Mega Inferno Bomb follows, and in goes Hueba. Looking in for Hammers. Trevor taken low. He's going to be the next focus. He gets dived on the Nexus. Doesn't matter where you go. Is he going to catch him with a bounty? No. Azza tries to get away. That's Azza, by the way, the hero, effectively, of many games. Just unable to do anything here on the Nexus.
Trying to go in now, being an overextension.
I think they stuck around a little too long, but I don't think they're going to be able to dive much deeper than that. Trevor realizes it. They got a 1 kill out of it, but they did not lose the turret. Oh, no! Yo, you're not allowed to do that. He's just like, guys, there's more minions. I'm going in again.
Oh, no, Yo, that was disgusting. Got the Baron up if they really want it. DKG feel like they're toying with their food a little bit when we're looking at a 20k gold lead. I'd love to get some stats of whether this is the single biggest active gold lead that we've had in a game in the Horizon Cup, because this feels like a lot.
Absolutely. We were looking at, shifting and patterns and sort of setups, but honestly, as you mentioned, obviously outside of the Scuttle Crab, which is the first time, in fairness, I think we've seen a fight for a Scuttle Crab so far. It normally is a sort of a posturing around the Rift Herald to start with, or the Dragon, depending on where they go, but there really wasn't much posturing involved. It was simply Team Secret walking in too late, DKG picking it up. And I'm never going to question what Hueba's going to do, because, even on a Kha'Zix in what really is a comp that he shouldn't be getting kills on Azza, on Trevor, maybe even on Tatsuri, I would argue, and Hammers. I would say Chewy's probably the easiest target for them, but it's just not there. They're chasing Yo down on the bot lane here. Meanwhile, they're taking Baron. Now they're like, oh, guys, he's just got the Baron buff. We're in trouble.
I think Team Secret are very well aware that they're probably not winning right now, so they're trying to get Yo down and give him his first death.
Can they get him? Can they stop him? It looks like they should be able to. He turns it back around and he gets away. And in comes the rest of the team. Oh no, they threw the kitchen sink at him and he just laughed like a plumber.
Look at Hueba in the base. Minions chiming in. Dominant game from DKG.
Easy as that. Game 1 goes the way of DKG. And they sit there, well, pretty casual, just have a quick sip of the drink. Not much celebratory there. They're just like, well, that was easy, guys. What's next? What is next? And that's something the Team Secret coaches, they've just been blown away. And yeah, they need it back to the drawing board, figure out what we're going to do. I mean, look, I don't even think you could say that was lost in pick and bans. It was just, they were just outplayed from the start. And as you talked about, the questionable decisions. I think, you could see it from all the lanes. They were all posturing. Everybody wanted that first kill, that first fight, that first something, just to sort of prove that we can compete. And it backfired.
I just think that the choice for when you've got a Nunu, you don't usually want to unless you want to get a sneaky chomp steal, right? You don't usually want to contest first River Scuttler because you're not a brawling champion until later on when you've got a few more tanky items, right? Just felt a bit awkward. Obviously, I'm not saying that lost them the game, but it was a platform for Hueber, right? And if you give Hueber a platform, he's going to leap from it. And he did this game again.
Literally leap.
Literally. And I think the second issue was that they were so laser focused on saying, well, we've got Renekton, like we should be able to fight Rift Herald because, you know, he's super strong at this stage in the game. And they just went in one by one. And if you go in one by one versus Hueber's Kha'Zix or any Kha'Zix, he's just gonna eat you up, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally that is what he does. Fantastic stuff overall. Amazing stuff. Let's get over to the State Farm analyst desk and figure out. I don't know what they can figure out because that was one-sided.
Definitely a statement made in that game by DKG, even though it was Team Secret pulling out the strategy. Hey, everybody, still hanging out. My name's LaTigers. We got Omo, we got Grandin. And what a way to set things off here in the semifinal.
Look, I feel like we've had so much build-up talking about Team Secret coming in here with those secret strategies, but when things came to fruition, it wasn't even a really good secret. You know, it's a little bit mundane, a little bit lackluster.
Look, I think it doesn't matter what strategy you pull out here. Like the Costas was saying, it's not a bad draft by any means from Team Secret. DKG, to me, it just looks like they outclassed them every step of the way. Every fight they took, DKG were just too sharp.
Yeah, Hueber felt like he had complete reign over the entire map, but it wasn't just his own doing. The team in its entirety putting their best foot forward with a lot of control over the game state.
I feel like when we were discussing the game, Gabby, you were mentioning to me how it feels like, oh, they're always moving together, they always have the numbers advantage, and it feels like they have 6 players in the Rift. It doesn't feel like 5, it feels like they have 6 full players, and that's why they can always make that happen, because even in those bad situations, they're able to recover, they're able to outplay, and it never feels like they're in a losing position.
In some ways, that Vision was that 6th player at times. The way that Team Secret was often left in some secrecy of their own when facing against DKG.
Yeah, the entire map was black for Team Secret. You couldn't extend on the side waves. You couldn't even catch your waves. You can't walk into your jungle. And this really comes back down to 2 key things from the side of DKG here. Utilizing the Ziggs, Leona in the mid lane extremely well to constantly get prio and playing off that with your Kha'Zix, controlling the jungle, controlling the side lanes, just gave Team Secrets with no options to play.
If they weren't getting gold leaves just based off of their own laning prowess, they were forcing those fights and really leaning into the idea that they have full confidence in their abilities in every single way.
I feel like if we go all the way back to the draft, right, it doesn't feel like Team Secret necessarily took a bad stance towards things. Like, it still looks like a comprehensive idea. They had some really cool moments where they pull Orianna to the Dragon lane, they had Riven to match the Zed in the mid lane, but all of these things don't matter when the skill gap is that wide. I feel like they just have to go back to basics.
And did this feel like something that was very difficult for them to overcome because of just such a strong early game, or did you want to see something different from them as they carried out throughout the game?
Well, it's 2 things, right? For one, I think that the drop wasn't a bad idea. Maybe you have to ban the Kha'Zix away, but DKG, they just look like they're playing so well. Now, if we're talking about what Team Secret can adjust going into the next game, go back to basics. Go back to what works for you, get control, get priority from Hamas and Chewy. Play something like the Lucian Nami and actively contest them for prio in the mid lane.
Yeah, that Nami you just mentioned was one of the key picks for Team Secret to get here. Is it something, a switch up of that, going back to that comfort and having that priority for the lane that might help them out?
Absolutely. I feel like Hames has done so well on the Nami. You know, a lot of the moments that Team Secret look best in is when he has something like that that can kind of enable the rest of his team, whereas stuff like the Alistar, you're kind of committing yourself into the engage and you don't have that option to get out. But I really want to take a look at what DKG had working for them that was so good, because I felt like Serelda's Grudge works so well right now. It helps them shred through all the tanks that Secret have. It felt like Secret had no tanks, and it felt like DKG had all of them.
Yeah, on every single level, DKG just had their bases covered, and Team Secret having to maybe overcome some of the mental aspect that was just dished to them in game number 1. We got more to break down about this series, though. Let's send things over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Great analysis, LaTigers and team, and equally impressive were the walkouts that you didn't know we were recording. Smack, you're our analyst. Break this down for us.
Ooh, all right. I'm lifting up the note card right here. I've got the 10 on it. You're just gonna have to imagine it because I didn't actually bring one. I should have been more prepared for this, but 10 out of 10 for me. Love the style. Great job.
I love the equal poses on the sides. Now, before we get into game number 2, listen to the teamwork that makes Dakun Gaming's dream work in our Bose sounds of the game.
能找他们打吗？我不想拼场，
不想拼场，我不拼场，不拼场。
我点完了。
能看我吗？来，
我能看你，我能看你。我主牛，我主牛，我主牛。
剑击，剑击，剑击。
我在管牛，我在管牛。
可以打，可以打，可以打，可以打。
我死了，我死了。
剑击卡阿卡里没大，你们可以打阿卡里没大，阿卡里没大。
好的，好的。
全上，
我们进了，我们进了。
一波。
拜拜，
拜拜，兄弟，我这波全上了，兄弟。
It's invisible, but it's always with you. It's the defender of your decisions, the bodyguard of your buffs, the guardian of your greatness on the Rift. It's the Cisco network, powering every epic moment at the Horizon Cup, so you can go wild on the Rift.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game 2 of what we're hoping is a longer series. But I gotta be honest, Kieran, I gotta be truthful. I'm a little fearful for Team Secret after that first game because I don't think they really did much wrong out in the the pick and ban seemed pretty safe and secure, and it just got away from them so quickly in such a downhill momentum. Like, we talk about snowballs, that was an avalanche hitting them right there, and I don't know what happened.
And they had the Nunu as well, so they should have had the snowball. Anyway, I'm gonna put that joke to the side. I think Omo kind of summed it up. It was a skill diff, man. Like that game was just played flawlessly by DKG, and Team Secret did have some missteps. They definitely put their foot wrong in certain areas of the game, specifically around Rift Scuttle and Rift Herald. I think those 2 areas, once the Rift Herald fight was over, it felt like they were locked out the game for good. Like, it felt like their comeback mechanics have been strangled because things just went wrong, and I think they need to, again, as I think Omo said again, go back to basics. They just need to, I think actually it might have been Grandin, go back to basics and kind of focus on what makes you good as Team Secret. Don't try to outthink, don't try to 4D chess DKG, because that's not a game you're going to win. Go back to what makes Team Secret good. Play strong solo lanes. Dominate in the laning phase where you can, and transition into the point where you can really allow Tatsuri to flourish and allow Azar to flourish as well. I think that's what makes Team Secret good. And I think, you're not going to beat DKG at their own game. I don't think you can outthink DKG at their own game. I think you have to just say, and we were talking about this when it came to Team Queso as well, D-Man, like, and all of the Tribe as well. I feel like they 4D chess themselves too hard in the Horizon Cup. I think, play what you're strong at. And if that doesn't work, then you've played your best possible Wild Rift,
I think back to it. I think of the ganks that came into lane, Quaver going down bot, getting himself the gank. They tried it up top to reverse it, didn't work. They tried it again, didn't work, and it was sort of like it just sort of fell away from them there. We're going through a very similar ban phase right now, identical almost, other than the Jax Fiora ban being the other way around. They are going to ban Garen? Okay, that's a response. Well, it leaves Renekton open possibly for DKG. What do they want as a first pick? Because there's a lot of options here for Quaver. Or will he just choose to go against it? No, it will be the Renekton.
So I'm sure you're trading Ziggs over to Team Secret right now as well. I think the Garen ban is interesting because Garen kind of nullifies a strong side top, right? You pick Garen and he can survive most matchups. And I think that's what, YK is happy with Garen in the Baron side. Like, he can just survive pretty much everything. And he has that true damage burst that can kind of chunk through one of the frontline tanks. So I think, it's a very sensible decision if you're trying to set up Azar for success. But you have given over the Renekton first pick to YK. And Renekton, again, in a similar boat, a super strong pick in the Baron lane meta right now. But I love this. Going back to what makes you good. Tatsuri on Zed. Strong solo lane presence. It means Chewy is very likely taking the Ziggs here, but the response from DKG is what I like to see. Another strong Dragon lane carry in the form of the Varus, which has similar clear potential, similar 2v1 potential, and can allow them to unlock their supports.
Yeah, like it. The Varus obviously always solid, and that means that obviously against the Ziggs could be painful for him, eating a couple of those arrows, and we know how strong Diana can be. So what does Team Secret come out with now? Are they going to go for a jungler? Jarvan, is that going to be jungle? Is it going to be top? I'm going to assume it's jungle until we see. You know, a Jarvan versus Renekton can work. Not the best of choices. You know, maybe a Darius in there. I'm trying to think what else they could possibly pick with Fiora and a Garen off the table. They're going for the Lucian. Okay, where's Ziggs going? Is this Ziggs support? Ziggs top?
It could be Lucian top. Lucian top is something that we have seen a little bit. Lucian is a flexible carry. He doesn't need to go in that Dragon Lane position. He can go mid and also go top too. I wouldn't say that Baron Lane is his like natural home. You usually see him mid or in the AD carry role. Rengar for Hueba. Is that the first Rengar pick we've had all tournament?
We had it the other day. Yeah, I know I got very excited with it. I think it was, I can't think what game it is, but definitely saw it. But it does mean Rakan comes in there, and that is a very good opener for them. I gained a cat on the desk. It's all right. Confused me for a moment. I've gained a cat. Well, there is a cat. It's Rengar. There we go.
Yeah. We'll never, ever, complain at gaining cats on broadcast, Demon. So, and that is going to be the Gragas. Okay, so this is an interesting draft from Team Secret. My imagination is it's obviously going to be Jarvan jungle. Obviously, we have seen some Zed jungle pop up from time to time, so we can't 100% discount that. It's Gragas support for James, it feels like. I think it'll be Chewy James with Ziggs Gragas bot, because it's got a lot of lane shove potential, especially at level 1. And then I think you're gonna have Azar playing Lucian top into the Renekton, because it's quite oppressive for the Renekton to deal with. So that would be the way that I choose to play it anyway. Whereas when you look at DKG, I think they're basically saying, well, if we can deal with like the Ziggs or the Lucian with that Rengar pick, then we probably deal with the majority of this team fight. And so that's kind of the way that I think they're looking to play this. Rengar's a very strong waiver pick as well, can single-handedly burst down targets easily. And they have nice team fights set up with the Diana and the Rakan and the Varus too. So.
Yeah, there you go. It is indeed going to be Azar on Lucian in that top lane. So going to be very an interesting one, and it's great to see Rengar back out again. Big fan of Rengar. Obviously, I used to be the Kazakhs. I used to have that little thing going on. And I remember back when I joined Riot, many years ago this was, when obviously back when I joined Riot, we had to fight for who had the icon. Back then, obviously, there wasn't, thousands and thousands of employees like there is these days in Riot Games. And everybody had your own icon as your sort of in-game thing and as an employee, and we had to fight for Kazakh. I lost.
was it 1v1 on the Rift?
It was, yeah, it was the classic 1v1 on the Rift, bro.
Mate. Yeah, this is interesting though, because Team Secret have gone back to what I think forms their identity. Like, you've given two very strong solo lane carries over to, both Azar and Tatsuri. And so I think this is what makes Team Secret strong. And I think if you play through this, if you allow them to play through those lanes, they might flourish and be able to shut down Dakun. Dakun again brings something very different though.
I mean, is different good? That's the question. Is it going to catch Team Secret off guard? And Team Secret bringing something they're maybe not used to. They've certainly got champions that they're used to here. We've seen James doing very well, very aggressive, immediately getting in there and finding Emo. But Emo, Rakan with those entrances can be such a strong setup, and I've lost count of the amount of 3-4 man knockups we've seen from Rakans. Everybody grouping up, but with Team Secret's comp, they're not going to be stacking on one another, so it's going to be more about split, finding those fights.
Yeah, I mean, Team Secret may be even immersed to just fighting a tool. They might want to utilize Tatsuri and Azar in the side lanes. I really like the adaptation of the Lucian into the Renekton. Renekton traditionally a bit of a Baron lane bully, but this is a hard matchup for Renekton to play into, at least until level 3, where you can maybe look for an engage and catch Azar out with your slicing dice. But realistically, this should be Azar favored heavily. So you have got very strong top Baron lane priority right here, which means you're going to have free reign of that top side of the jungle as well. And you're seeing a full red side clear for Trevor at this stage of the game, which means he's probably going directly for top lane scuttle and maybe even looking to split the jungle vertically and deny some very early jungle on the blue side for Hueva.
Keep our eye on that pattern. We can see him sat waiting to see if he can get anything set up for Yo here, but it's not going to be the case. Shows himself. That gives Hueva all the information he needs as he just gets himself a little farm in and around mid. Continuing to trade down the bot lane, or the dragon lane, whichever you would prefer these days. Imo just eating out here, looking to see if he can get out Chewy. Not going to step out further, but eats himself an arrow. And that's the danger. That's the danger. Whoever pops out of nowhere, that is also the danger of a Rengar. And you can see, oh, the Bono strike landing. There's Rakan knockup, but Trevor managing to get away with the flag of drag.
I'm trying to figure out why Trevor didn't just say, well, top lane scuttle. Like, we have full top lane priority. Bot lane was a little even, but questionable because Chewy was out of position to be able to respond, and now Fueva might actually just double scuttle you.
Yeah.
What was the decision making to say why weren't we utilizing top lane priority right now for Team Secret? Fueva has just got away with a double scuttle as a Rengar. Like, and versus the Jarvan, that shouldn't really happen. Jarvan can definitely hold his own at this stage in the game, so that felt a little awkward from me, and Trevor definitely isolated himself. I assumed that they thought they had more priority on the bot side of the map than they actually did. But I think Team Secret punished, again, very early on here with some interesting decision-making around the Rift Scuttlers.
Look how confident Emo is in a 2v1 right now as the support in that bot lane. Just happy to dance about, farm out the gold while he waits for Wind to come back to lane. But so overly confident. Obviously, they've got the full ward coverage, so he knows he's safe. He only needs to worry about dodging out skill shots. And had no fear of James whatsoever because he was so low.
I feel like they kind of had to, though, because if they allowed James to freeze the lane there, it made it a little awkward for DKG overall. So I think, like, Emo basically said, well, I've got to try and shove this wave in. That would be my priority, so I'm going to try and shove this wave in. Interesting that they're going for a gank on the Renekton here. He does have that Dominus available, and Hueva isn't too far away, and he'll be able to stalk this towards the top side of the map with his ultimate relatively easily.
Okay, though, getting baited into this one. Trevor's there. There's a flag and drag. It's a good knockup, and had they got enough, the Dominus comes down. I don't think the damage is there, but Hueva comes in and destroys the back line. Asa and Trevor didn't know what hit him.
Did we not just call that? Did we not just say he's stalking in the sidelines? Hueva could be there before you could even say, well, dead. And Azar and Trevor were just dead in that situation. I think it's also risky, you know, post level 5 trying to gank a Renekton. It is risky to do that. Let's take a look at the Axe replay here. YK, he has no idea that Trevor's here, but watch, pops on him, Dominus even flashes away under tower. That is a very risky tacticalism, and Hueva is just there, stalking on that top side of the map, ready to jump in. He can so easily react to these ganks and find a counter gank in these post level 5 scenarios. And Hueva already off to a 1,200 gold lead, effectively and efficiently farming his way through the jungle as well. Who can stop this man?
And the danger is, of course, you know, the fact that obviously we're using a Lucian top there. You know, the reasoning behind it, yeah, I get it. You can poke and prod onto YK, but the fact is, you're a Lucian top. You are squishy, and when a Rengar comes out the jungle like that, you're gonna go down fast. There's no doubt about it. Team Secret, though, trying to get a bit of chest thumping going on here. As you can see, the Scuttlecraft ward obviously is in there, so they don't have that, so they're going to try out this Rift Herald, try and get the poking. Emo re-engages. I love that re-engage. Chains of Corruption come down, and Hueva will pick himself up the first kill here. Emo again in, trying to get out of the way of it this time, but again, DKG just too quick and too punishing in their response.
Yeah, just too good, I think D-Man is the phrase here. Wind overextend, he knows he's dead. To Tatsuri, Tatsuri found something back, but... And that might be enough to allow a trade for objectives cross-map right now. That was, I think, Tatsuri claiming something from the depths right there. And that's an okay response for Team Secret.
Okay, so they're going to admit, they're going to accept the fact they lose the Mountain Drake because Hueva's not here. Yo is on a different page, so it seems. Emo and Yo going in. Meanwhile, they're just delaying. DKG are actually taking the top turret. That was pure delay tactics.
Absolutely. Maybe a cheeky attempt at a steal if they could manage it, but they were never really there to look for the fight. They were just, as you said, there to delay. Didn't even have to use the Rift Herald to pop that first turret of the game. You have a Rengar. I mean, turrets are like butter to you if you have a Rengar, and he's the hot knife. It's really insane stuff. I wish we had a replay of that fight around the Rift Herald as well, because I think what you see is just a perfectly timed layering of CC from DKG as well. Sometimes when you have this situation where you're, trying to chain CC together, a lot of teams will be like, well, he's knocked in the air, like quickly throw everything at him. But the timing of Wynn's ultimate was just as Chewy was bouncing back down from the grand entrance knockup. It was just like buying these extra milliseconds to ensure that they get the end result they're looking for. And DKG are flawless in these skirmishes and team fights. 5k gold lead at 6 minutes. I think Team Secret are going to have to do something special here.
Well, they are going to try and focus down the Diana. Stasis runs. In comes the rest of the team to support. The knockup didn't work, actually. Emma missing that one. But it's enough to put the fear of God into Team Secret as they back away. Ripto being thrown down mid. But uh-oh, what's in the jungle? It's YK and Huiba coming around the side. Tatsuri thinks he's found him. Huiba's the focus. He's trying to run and go, but he does get finally taken down. They get themselves a second. Can they turn into a third or win? Yes, they can. And finally, we get something from Tatsuri. And Team Secret with a 3-0.
The hero of the Philippines right here, Tatsuri. Absolutely beastly. YK trying desperately to prevent this mid lane wave from going down, and he'll pay for it with his life. But Tatsuri, given one of his best picks, given one of the best champions that he has in the game, oh no. Oh god. Guys, I was just hyping you up.
We didn't see that. Let's take
a look at the action replay here. Waver just a little overextended, but watch Tatsuri. He holds on to his ultimate. Waver tries to get away from it, but he keeps his nerve, stays and picks up Waver, and then they're able to collapse on a very split DKG here. Really excellent stuff from Tatsuri. They earned that triple kill by punishing the very aggressive overextension from Waver in the jungle. This was just, I mean, YK, I thought it looked a little bit silly that he knew he was going to die here, but at the end of the day, it paid off. He bought enough time so that his team wouldn't lose that mid lane turret easily. Of course, Chewy turns up eventually, but
it's going to get Tatsuri down the bot. Not going to be able to get away from this one. And it will be Huiba that picks up the kill. And they're going to keep punishing here. Yeah, he's angry Huiba. I mean, he's still got a 3,000 gold advantage. That is a very dead Chewy. Zig's getting caught out like that without a flash. You basically caught with your pants down. And now the mid turret is in perilous danger.
Killing Huiba only serves to make him 10 times more angry. Because he's come back with a vengeance in these small skirmishes here.
Red team lost.
That's what the problem is. The Team Secret are playing directly into what a Rengar wants. Mindlessly rotating through DKG vision as a squishy carry like Chewy. You are going to get killed by a Rengar. It's like playing versus a Twitch. When Twitch was like super meta in League PC.
Yeah, for about 2 or 3 years actually at the start.
If you are walking by yourself versus these types of champions, you have to assume that they're going to kill you. So don't walk by yourself, especially if you don't have flash, you don't have stasis. I know that Chewy has now picked up stasis, but again, only buys you a bit of time, and if your team's not ready to immediately collapse on you, then obviously you're still going to die regardless. And DKG again using aggressive vision lines in the river. They're ensuring that these rotations are very difficult for TS to do between the lanes right now.
They're not going to be close enough to this one. That's a long way away. They're still coming in for a 5v5 though. I'm not sure this is the right engagement choice for Team Secret. Yes, the mid lane turret is not there, but in terms of trying to prod, it is Inferno coming up though, so definitely worth a fight, but this is dangerous signs for Team Secret. They have grabbed the perfect engagement. It's a good start onto Weber. They're going to get him down. They have. This could turn in Team Secret's way, but the rest of the team now respond to this one. The culling not really finding its target. James trying desperately to lock somebody down. Trevor has to back away, and Team Secret realize, okay guys, we got the jungler back out. That's enough. We should be able to get the Drake down.
Uncharacteristic error from Hueva, in my opinion. Just way too aggressive on his Rengar positioning and held his flash for a very long time. James with the perfect punish, and you can see DKG maybe looking for a cheeky attempt at a steal here, but that's an Infernal pickup. Signs of life yet for Team Secret. Much better from the Southeast Asian representative. And honestly, again, like you said, uncharacteristic error from Hueva. He's still, as you mentioned, a significant chunk of gold in the lead. But those little errors creeping in are giving small windows of opportunity for Team Secret, and they're taking you. Watch here, Hueva. He knows they're all there. They don't have the vision. Face checking as a Rengar is always a rough thing to do. Luckily, the rest of DKG were able to kind of nullify the fight and prevent anyone else from going down. But again, if you lose Weber, it feels like you lose the game right now. We have another fight.
They go straight back into it. Weber once again caught out. This time, he gets locked up in the Cataclysm. He's going to go down again. Now can they turn this back around, though? Trevor going to get focused on. He has to flag and drag away. The stun comes through, and that's another one down. So it's a 1-for-1. Azza was the one that dropped on the Lucia. So it's still not the end of the day. Jungler down, but look at DKG. They want more. They're coming around for the flank. They're going to try and go for the tower dive. Yo goes in. He gets stunned and locked up. That's worked out well, but oh no, they immediately did get the double drop down there. Tatsuri's going to try and turn it around. He gets one. Can he get a second here onto Yo? He's going to dive in for it. Yo can turn this around. His cooldown will be back off any second now, but it's another triple for the hero, Tatsuri.
And Tatsuri is absolutely carrying the flag with WJ. Let's take a look again here. Weber once again picked up, focused down, brilliant CC chain onto him, and they've just tried to make him irrelevant in this fight. Very easy to do versus the Rengar. He is a relatively risky pickup in these teamfight situations. And it does feel for like DKG, if you take out Weber, you do really cut the head off the snake. And the rest of DKG, whilst they're strong, I think Iraqi very perfectly sums up. They're not the absolute best in their positions at the tournament. They're very good. They work well as a team. But it is Weber that is the man you need to be concerned about. And if you take him down, the rest of DKG are a little easier to deal with. And you can allow Tatsuri, who I think Tatsuri is definitely up there as one of the best laners that we have here at the Horizon Cup. And you can allow him to flourish.
So, Baron would be next. Oh, Tatsuri's gone in. He's going to get YK down, but he will fall in the same process. And now, are they going to re-engage on this one? No, because they've got Weber in the pit. They're going to keep on following. The culling works out well. And Trevor, once again, with another magnificent Cataclysm. Caught the chance of corruption, though, as Wind gets involved. Trevor trying to get away from this one. Emo will disengage. Trevor's going back in for Emo. Not going to happen, but that is another 2-for-1 in Team Secret's favor. They now have the kill advantage, and they're chasing on the gold. They've got to get the objectives, though.
I know, and again, it is a very simple strategy. You kill the annoying cat, and you really shut down a lot of the current damage that DKG have to offer. Tatsuri 9-3-2. You can see where they denied that Zed away from him in the previous game. We're going to have an automatic spawn of the Rift Herald here that's going to make its way to that top side of the map. And DKG, this is the test right now. Have they been in a situation where they have to try and fight from an even, not quite behind, but like heading towards that direction? Like, can they execute the same strategy when their jungler isn't just so obscenely ahead? And that is now the test, I think, for DKG.
Yeah, there's a shining example, and we should not forget about the fact that Ziggs will start to become a real problem. Those bombs can put a lot of damage down. Well, obviously, if he's allowed to do it there for Chewy, who is certainly up on the gold as well. So, Team Secret with a glimmer of hope at the moment. And look at this, the focus that DKG were trying to put onto Tatsuri there. They know that if they can take him away, the rest of the team should fold. And they are just dancing around the objectives. Next Drake coming up in 5 seconds time. You can see that already they're looking to get in position, but Weber staying way out of the way this time. Gets into the pit, starts that dragon off, and they're going to try and get thumping going here. This is all about James.
And Tatsuri too, keep your eyes on him. Where's he going to go? You can see DKG are going to reset the dragon here. Team Secret's team fight is a little better, I think. Weber.
Trevor wants to get in there. Emo completely missing the exchange. That didn't work out well. Oh no, look, they caught Weber again. The stasis is not going to save him here. He's going to go down. Now what can they get from this one? Another stasis comes in. Wind's going to get picked up in the pit. He gets taken down. Emo gets chased down by Azza. Azza can dash on through. James gets the lockdown as well. YK goes straight into Azza. Disaster. Stasis after stasis after stasis. DKG in all manner of trouble. Another stasis burn. And they are going to drop the aces on the cards, but they are going to turn and run. I think they're going Baron.
I think they're going straight to Baron. They've got Azar super fed on this Lucian. You've got Chewy who's picked up double buff as well. They are walking, or just red buff even. They're just walking straight over to that huge objective, and it'll be up to YK to defend it. I don't know if he's got what it takes. James has been excellent on this dragon to support this game as well. I don't want him to fall to the wayside. He really has been a brilliant performer. You can see Teleport rushing in towards this Baron.
Weber's here. What can he do? Can he get the spike fight? Cataclysm knocks him down. He's trying desperately to creep closer, but he's not allowed near the objective. And the Baron will go to Team Secret.
And Team Secret now, not yet in the lead, but they surely feel like they should be. Baron being picked up for them is a massive win. They've dealt with the main threats. It has been a shutdown on Hueba. The big pickups of these particular boot enchants as well has made it very difficult for Hueba to function in a team fight. And again, this really feels like what the Kha'Zix should have been like last game. It's much more difficult when you have these kind of assassin-focused junglers, when the enemy team has picked up stasis, they've picked up gargoyles, and they work together as a pack unit. And that is what Team Secret are doing so well here. DKG, they don't have the legs when Hueba is dead to carry these team fights.
Hammers coming in, and look at this. The gold will start to swing. They've been struggling to get the towers down before those last two team fights. But the top, the mid, the bot, they all drop. Tier 2s all going down, and now they are onto the inhibitor turrets. And DKG trying to find their target. They want to focus onto Tatsuri. It's not going to happen. Emo comes back around the side there. They get the lockup once again. Chains of corruption do come down, but it's only Hammers that they capture in their net, and that's just not enough, I'm afraid. Inhibitor turrets fall, and DKG can bleed, it seems. They're in all manner of trouble as the Nexus is the next focus here for Team Secret. They're going into the engage. Yogo's looking for it. They get onto Hammers. There's some good damage coming down here. Tatsuri has to back out, but look at the back line. It's melting left and right. DKG putting up one last fight here, but Azza popping up left and right. Yo's caught on him. He has to go gold. Is he going to get caught out by Yo? No. Trevor pushes in. They have to disengage this. They have to respect DKG.
They have to, because they have that Varus poke as well, but it's still a win for Team Secret here. My God, when you play good solo lanes, Team Secret, you're bloody good at the game. Just do more of that, man. Just do more of that. Tatsuri 11-4, and I know Azar hasn't had... YK has to flush away from this. Tatsuri's just that confident, but I know that Azar hasn't had the scoreline to reflect it, but he did put a pressure on YK and make that top lane difficult for him. And I think right now Tatsuri has been an absolute beast. I think Trebor playing this supportive jungler 2-1-15 as well. Be another dragon that has spawned. And I think uncontested right now. Rengar sucks, by the way, if you're in this position as a Rengar. Like when you're up against this many stasis and gargoyles, and you're into a proper team fight team that has all this CC, especially something like the Gragas. Gragas is like one of the best counter picks into Rengar ever. Like Rengar jumps on your carry, you just barely bop him, and he can't do diddly squat, you know.
Yo's going to try and commit here. In comes Weber, but I'm not too sure they've got the power now to try and back this up. Azza was taken low, but he can quickly get involved, and it's a perfect lineup for the colleagues. They do get themselves one down. Is it going to be enough, though? You can see around the side, Evo trying to get away from this one. Wind will fall, and the inhibitor turrets are going to follow. The Mega Inferno bomb backs up the second there as Evo goes down, and now the Nexus is completely open.
And to be surely it for Team Secret. They're coming back in this series, D-Man.
Incredible turnaround, no doubt about it. It will be the ace and the game for Team Secret as they even up the series 1-1. And I gotta be honest, Scoundrel, I was looking at the body language at the start of that game. It looked very down from Team Secret, but that is gonna give them a massive motivation bump.
I think they're going to be super happy about that. You can see them, the body language is so different off the back of that game. What do we say, man? You've got some of the best laners in the tournament. Give them their picks. Give them the stuff that they can just flex on. And Tatsuri absolutely did that game. I think they aptly punished Hueba's over-aggression on that Rengar. I think that, like DKG are so used to being able to snowball the early game so hard that they didn't know when to put on the brakes. They didn't know when to reset and look for something else to do. And obviously Rengar, he's not super meta for a reason, and I think that game is a pure example of why that's the case. Great in solo queue, where coordination is not as strong. In competitive, though, when you're going up against a Gragas, maybe one of the best support Gragas players in the world, who'll just belly bop you at any given opportunity and isolate you with his ultimate, it makes Rengar really hard to play. And I think when you have your star carry on a jungler that is almost impossible to play in these skirmish and even skirmish and team fights, I think, yeah, it clearly showed that Team Secret had the tools to deal with it. And my God, I'm so happy with the way they played that game. We've got a real series here.
Absolutely. What a fantastic turnaround. And of course, for more on that Team Secret win, let's get over to the State Farm Analyst Desk to break it all down.
Thank you very much, gents. And hey, you know what? I just got to take a second because you said 3-0. You said 3-0. I also said 3-0, but I've never been more happy to be wrong. Team Secret pulled this one back, baby. How you feeling, Smacks?
I'm happy for you, man. I really am.
All right, well, let's get to the highlights because it was a heck of a game. It started off looking also doomed here, Rocky Zoro, but Team Secret found ways back in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, we shouldn't confuse this game because DKG definitely got ahead early game. It was with this play in particular where Nectin baited enough, then flashed out with his ultimate, Rengar came in, and this is a story that you see with DKG over and over. They're always at the right positioning at the right time, and their laners don't overstep unless they know their teammates are behind them, but this is when it started turning, and they started overextending, being overconfident. Tatsuri started getting gold, and then he put the team on his back and carried with the Zed.
2 triple kills in the early game for Team Secret, for Tatsuri. They were still down in this game, I want to add, because they were down about 5,000 gold for the longest time just because Dakun Gaming are so solid as a team. It's just that these team fights did not go their way. And this is where I get the most upset in these team fights, is because Weibo was so fed again. We've seen him carry games from this point, but he just had a happy trigger finger in this game, man. He just kept jumping in with the thrill of the hunt.
Yeah, I don't want the story to be lost, though, that a lot of credit goes to Team Secret. They played those late game team fights so perfectly. Their positioning was spread out just enough. Like, watch this Rakan engage. Doesn't hit anyone, doesn't charm anyone, doesn't knock up anyone. And it's because of Team Secret's positioning. They understand how to avoid the engage it, then re-engage after the tools have already been used by DKG. And at that point, the Lucian can pop off. The Ziggs is dealing a lot of damage from the back line. And it's just a beautiful team fight strategy that you can watch play out.
Yeah, and even in this fight here that's going on for such a long time, Tatsuri died at the beginning of the fight, doing no damage, and Team Secret still found a way on in. And you gotta look at James pulling the trigger at the right moments. You saw him dodge out the Diana, getting these fantastic engages to set up Trevor as a secondary damage unit. Azar, who had been behind for such a long time, being put in position to deal out the damage here.
I think this is just such a momentum shift in a series like this, where Team Secret, they played against the jungle funnel style of Dakun Gaming. This Rengar was massive in the early game. They were winning the top lane, they were winning the Drake fights, and they still managed to come back. As you said, not just Tatsuri on the Zed finding triple kill after triple kill, but the whole team really coming together and finding a focused plan to win throughout the rest of it.
And I do think it's a momentum shift in particular because Team Secret were winning the 5v5s. This draft was a little bit different from DKG. It wasn't so much about split pushing. You're playing for the 5v5s with the Diana, with the Renekton, with the Varus, and Team Secret were able to win a game even though they were so far down in gold in the early game. So does DKG now think we can only win through split pushing? If they do, that's going to limit them in draft.
Boy, this draft is going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on. All right, well, even though DKG lost, our State Farm assist of the day still goes to Emo for this ult that led to a huge team fight win and an early Herald.
The reason we're so hyped about this win for Team Secret is because they were so far down early. And it's a lot because of this play from Emo. You saw just there, he got that 2-man quickness engage, and it really diverted the attention of Team Secret away from the objective that they were going for so that they could stop this team fight that was erupting beneath them. And it led to Dakun finding the team fight win, finding the Rift Herald, and then the momentum afterward to keep that moving. And it was a really, really great play from Emo. It's just unfortunate that they were up against Team Secret, who are those late game kings.
Yeah, well, this is the first time a team in the knockout that lost the first game found a win. We're tied up at 1 apiece. Game 3 is coming back after this short break. Let's go, Team Secret. That's what I like to see, baby!
I woke up to the morning sky first. Baby blue, just like we rehearsed.
from the beginning.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Horizon Cup here in Singapore. Wild Rift action at the top of its game right now between DKG of China and Team Secret from the Philippines, both representing their regions to the highest level, it has to be said, Kiernan, as we go into the pick of bans. What is this going to bring us? What will Weber end up with?
Well, I think that's the question, isn't it? Do we see a Z ban? Do we see a Z prio? It really shifts what you go for on the blue side one draft. Speaking of blue side one, DKG are blue again. They have been blue every single game in this series thus far. The bans are not shifting. It is still focused towards team with actually Jax being omitted right now by Team Secret. So I wonder whether that has changed up what they are focusing down at the least in. The 3-ban strategy remains the same for DKG here. Let's see what Team Secret Ziggs. So they felt like Ziggs was such a pivotal point of both, or pivotal pick in both of these games. That will be focused. The Varus, though, immediately locked in for DKG, which opens up the Renekton pickup for Azar if he wants it.
Or do they take the Jax away from Weber? Do they go for that? As you say, Renekton certainly was a favorite, but wasn't the end of the world that they didn't have it. It is going to be the Renekton. Okay. Does the Jax come with it? Do they go for the Z? Is there so many options? Tatsuri on Z was phenomenal.
Let's see. It's going to be, again, they are really thinking. They are really thinking about it. I mean, obviously, if you go Z, you are giving yourself a rather one-dimensional damage profile, but that didn't matter too much to Team Secret last time round. They were dominant regardless of how AD heavy they were with just the Ziggs to back them up in that game, although Ziggs can really provide with it. And that's going to be the Graves, which actually has been overlooked by DKG for a lot of this series thus far. They are going to pick that up right now. Trevor will be having the Graves, and that does leave open the Jax should Hueba want it. There'll be Diana locked in for Yo, something that he has played a lot throughout this entire tournament.
So he's got Diana over the Z. The Z being available obviously did very well in the Z in the first game.
Yeah, I think though, with Ziggs gone, if you were to go Z and with okay, Garen's banned actually. This is an interesting one actually. If you go Z, you are clearly very AD heavy, which is obviously going to be something to think about.
Jax.
It is going to be the Jax. He's a bit more hybrid damage orientated. There is a bit more of a balanced damage profile right now. And there we go. I wasn't expecting another AD laner. Although we of course can see this go to Chewy. He has shown that he will play us on the bot side of the map. So let's not 100% say that that's going to be Tatsuri playing the Orianna here. Now let's 100% say that's Tatsuri.
Yes. I mean, we've seen Orianna supports as well, but I expect James. I mean, but Gragas still available, Alistair available, Rakan available. There's many options for him. This one to go alongside it. Senna available as well, by the way.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen
Just
much
a
Senna
totally
priority. Exactly, Senna priority this series has been pretty low. That will be YK playing the Jarvan top. Jarvan with Summon Airy is actually a relatively good call-in to things like Darius and Renekton because you just slap them with the Dragon Strike over and over again. So we'll see YK very likely take that kind of build into this Renekton matchup, and it will be Emo on the Rakan again, so trusting his engage potential. Very strong teamfight comp again from DKG with that threat of a split push of, if they want to go for like a 1-4 style comp with Hueba on the side lanes, they can. But overall, it's a strong team fight from these guys.
I'm thinking Alistair for the headbutts to get Hueba away. No? Oh, Nami. Okay, good disengage. I like it. The big wave.
It's also a very strong laning phase. If you want to play through bot here, because I don't think you can play through top because it's such a safe lane with the Jarvan. I think it's very difficult to play through an Orianna because she takes time to scale. So for me, this is Team Secret saying, well, we are playing strong side bot. We want to play through bot. And I want to refer back to what the analyst desk set up. It is the many faces of Team Secret, the many ways they can play the game, the many styles of this team. And this is now the playthrough bot style, where we're going to be looking towards Chewy and James and how Trevor can set them up for success versus a relatively weak lane in the form of Varus, Rakan. You're not playing Varus to be super dominant in the laning phase, right? So that's the area of the game that we're going to be looking to exploit if we're Team Secret.
Well, they did prove, certainly in the quarterfinals, that they don't just rely on one carry, one Tatsuri in the Z to sort of get them through. So, and it's certainly not going to be the case if he's playing a control mage like Oriana up against the Diana. It's probably going to be quite a tough lane for him. Yes, he can get a little bit of poke with ball, but that's about it. You're going to be looking at Yo making the plays, and we know what Weber can do on Jax. It's going to be all about whether they can control him and slow down Weber's DKG on Jax this time around, because that is a very different champion to the Rengar.
It is, and also much more flexible than the Rengar. I will add that. It is a much more flexible pick for Weber here in the jungle, because it allows more options, you know, for the DKG team. It's something that they were pioneering at the start of the Horizon Cup, and they made it work for a reason. And that's something you do have to respect. Clearly was banned in the first 2 games by Team Secret here. But Team Secret have drafted, again, another style of comp. And the question that I have, D-Man, is if we are taking priority away from Tatsuri and giving it more towards, you know, James and the bot lane, is that something that's going to be strong enough to beat DKG? Because Tatsuri clearly demonstrated that he is good enough. You know, when he's given a more proactive pick and a pick like Zed, he can be strong enough to deal with DKG. Is the bot lane going to be a strategy that works out? Let's see.
Yeah, well, my major worry for that is the fact that Weber's just going to jump on the AD and that'll be that. I mean, that's, you know, hop in, get the counter strike on the go, and oh dear, there goes the carry. So I gotta feel that we're going to see, you know, whether the bubbles land, whether the tidal waves being used at the right moment. I feel that could be absolutely pivotal in this game. But if you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, welcome to the Horizon Cup, and secondly, what a series you're about to join. DKG took game 1 in commanding style, 20,000 plus gold in the lead towards the end of that one, but Team Secret strike back with the help of Tatsuri, their mid laner, on the Z, dominating throughout that second game. And here in game number 3, with a series teetering on the edge, we have Weber back on his Jax that he absolutely set the world alight on against SBTC, a team still from the Southeast Asia region, a team that beat Team Secret many times throughout the year, but they were very much put on their backsides by Weber.
Yeah, and they're put on their backsides by Team Secret yesterday as well. Team Secret obviously had to beat them to get to this stage of the tournament, and they did so in commanding fashion. And Team Secret now have that strong bot. That's a level 1 engage right now. They're going to bot. Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's the danger of Minami, right? You are a very squishy level 1. And James having to burn that flash. Did throw the ignite down, but the heal coming out from Chewy as well as the heal ignites coming out from Wind and Emo. So lots of summoners being burnt within the first minute.
That's not a good look, though, if you're a strong side bot lane. You've now lost priority to a Varus and a Rakan, and I think just it's an uncharacteristic error from James, honestly. He is usually so apt at his positioning, usually so smart about the way he plays the game. And just, I think, disrespected a level 1 all-in from the DKG bot lane there. You can see now Treble. If anyone's wondering why this happens, by the way, and it's something you'll see a lot throughout professional play, if anyone's wondering why your jungler just randomly shows himself in lane mid, it's because he wants to shove the lane and get automatic mid lane priority, which basically, for free, allows him to go for one of the scuttle crabs. So that's why you see Treble do that. He just wants to ensure that there's no way that anyone can respond to his scuttle crab take on the top side of the map. And we'll go ahead and do that easily. But Weber just able to go and take the bottom one, so we see a scuttle trade for a scuttle trade at the start of the game here. Although you can see Trebor on the top side of the map.
Go for the engage. Trebor not really going to land the shots that he wanted though. YK, ooh, this is a dangerous shot for him though. He has no fruits. Yo coming up though, the mid laner to help out. Weber's nearby as well. They're going to try and bait this one out here. Doesn't land it. Trebor will back away. And they have to respect that.
I love it. Look at this, and watch right here. Weber sees that mid lane wave. That's not going to waste. This is, look, Professor Iraqi Zoro is being shown in full force right here, because this is something that they do incredibly well. Yo acts as a second jungler to kind of help prevent top lane dives. He stops top lane weak side, from being an easy place for Team Secret to get some free gold. And then those resources mid don't go to waste because Quaver just exits the jungle, soaks them up, and goes back to clearing the jungle very early on. This is classic DKG, and it's all about facilitating this really strong jungler. Great double bubble, they can't follow up on it. But I gotta say, that is, not often do you get the chance as an analyst to kind of illustrate something and you see it happen in such clear daylight, but that is exactly what you just saw from Yo. Sacks his lane off to help YK on the top side, and then Quaver just absorbs the rest of the resources.
Just to the rest of the world, when I say sacks it off, what he means is he leaves the lane. English lingo, it can be strong sometimes. I know to the rest of the world, there's quite a lot of languages out there.
Sacks it off. I never thought about how stupid that phrase sounds until just now.
Yeah, I mean, we all have our banter. I get the benefit of living in Germany, so I don't quite get caught up in it. That's a great ball. Shouldn't get backed up on, but it was the Rakan of Emo. It was win they were looking for, which is where Trevor would have almost certainly piled in. 30 seconds now until we do see that Rift Herald and Mountain Drake come up, which will be important. Which one do you prioritize, or can you get both?
Still a relatively even though. 1,000 gold lead being built up through just some natural gold advantages in the jungle, mid and bot. Obviously a lot of it being in favor of Wind right now, hit a very early level 1. And I think you're right, where are we going to see some priority? We are going to see that again, very classic rotation that we see at the Horizon Cup. You move your bot lane to mid to ensure that you get mid lane prio, which gives you some flexibility about what type of objectives you want to set up for. Team Secret have got a better setup here for the Rift Heralds, just given their positioning, but they aren't going to commit to it just yet.
I would say we've seen 2 gank attempts now from Team Secret. Nothing for DKG yet. They're trying to be a little bit more cautious, but now, of course, the Rift Herald will be started off. Quaver on there already. Now, Asa did just come down and have a little peek, got himself the ward down there, so they know that this is happening, DKG, but they're choosing not to contest it. They want to take the Drake instead, but DKG, once again, as we saw before, Wind and Yo, just trying to distract here at the Dragon, trying to delay things. They get the Rift Herald, and here comes the rest of DKG. Waver's about to arrive. They don't have YK anywhere near at the moment. He's a long way away from this one, but DKG have done enough to force Team Secret off the objective.
Yeah, Team Secret have got to respect the very strong item spikes and power spikes that we're at right now as well. You can see Triforce. We have the Rod of Ages for the Diana. It's much, much stronger than the Archangels for Tatsuri. The team fight right now from DKG is much, much better. Because you have that really big level 5 Diana ultimate, you have a great item spike for her. Rakan has gone Rod of Ages, by the way.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's not an unusual build. This is actually a relatively common build for Rakan, just because he scales so well with AP and health in general. It's actually quite a nice build that allows him to have really big impact with his ultimate and his grand entrance. So it's kind of become a very popular Rakan build over the last few months. But it does mean that you have to respect these item spikes. Like, there are some big item spikes for all of the DKG side right now. And obviously Team Secret just not confident enough to go for the team fight.
Yeah, the fact that he's already picked it up and they're already chest thump around the Dragon. So YK and Azza heading down the river. Azza actually waiting for him in the river, so he wants to go for the one-on-one engage. And that means it's going to be a simple pickup for DKG. As it does come down, way too late to the party. Wind will just flash away from that one.
Yeah, Wind knew what was up there, had to make the flash happen. Quaver, I think Quaver, yeah, he's telegraphing this a little bit too hard, and he knows.
Is the rest of the team coming? This is going to be a 4v5 if they stick with it. Quaver will just be able to jump away to Yo, though. And a simple disengage, but Team Secret committed everything to that. And while that's happening, YK is just farming for free on the top lane.
And he's going for the top lane tower too. He has got that standard, which increases attack speed. Got another wave piling in, but I don't think he's going to get away with it. Oh my gosh.
I mean, this is the danger, right? This is what we're talking about with the control mage. She's not going to have really that solo capability against the Diana like Yo. And that is worrisome for Tatsuri there.
Well, I just, this is what I don't get, right? You just saw how good, like, Team Secret were when Tatsuri was able to maneuver into a side lane and actually beat Yo, you know, pretty comfortably on the Zed. Now you've given him a control mage who's going to stand no chance versus a Diana in a side lane, and he's going to be starved of resources, and he's also not going to be able to hold Diana. That to me just feels very anti what Team Secret just did to win. So I feel like they almost like drafted away from their own win conditions in this little...
I was very confused that it didn't go with the Z or something like that. That just worked out so well for him, as I say, the carry. But this is something we've seen from Team Secret, the fact that they can, you know, switch the carry. Who's going to be the carry today? Well, at the moment, you would hope it was going to go to Chewy, but Chewy's 1,000 gold behind Wind already because of the objectives going in their favor. Riptail's going to get thrown down on the top lane. That's going to probably give them that turret. They're going to try and focus on DKG in the bot lane. That bomb was not going to land, which means they have to back away from this one. But that's a 4-man attempt there. And the Riftail doing the job in the top lane takes down that tower. And the first one of the game. Still, by the way, 8 minutes in, no deaths.
The problem for Team Secret is that when they see these resources, like, you know, 2 guys committed to the top side of the map, they don't really have a button they can press to say immediately engage, right? They can't really, even Nami is a slow engage tool. The wave is quite telegraphed, the bubble's hard to hit. They don't really have a button where you can just say, oh, we need to punish them now, because that's not available to Team Secret. And that's something that I think DKG are going to have much in their favor. I also want to holistically talk about the sort of the whole process of playing through Dragon Lane in this current meta. When your Dragon Lane at 4 minutes into the game leaves the Dragon Lane and goes to the mid and just permanently farms mid waves, so you get some kind of a, you know, an eye on the objectives. That's not a great lane to play through right now, and I think you can see why in this game.
Being protected and checked away. He's going to try and come in and get the smite down. Will he be able to steal it away? No, it's not. That goes the way of Team Secret, but how's the fight going to go? Az is in trouble. Weber's taken low. Az will get picked off on the backside there, but at the moment it's just a 1-2 kill favor DKG. We did talk about them being the favorite. Tribord gets away just about, but is he safe? They are going to dive in towards the turret. They're not going to follow on through, and it will be turret for Herald. Team Secret got their objective, but oh, what cost? I mean, two deaths, possible 1 turret, maybe 2 here.
Take a look back at the Axe replay here. As you can see, they do have superior setup on this objective, but when you are in the pit, it does make you very vulnerable to wind. And again, you can't really be proactive in re-engaging onto DKG. So DKG happily take the 4v5 right now. They know they've done a lot of damage to Tavares beforehand, and by the time that Yo turns up, most of the damage is done. Obviously, they lose the objective here, but realistically, again, Team Secret, they would have wanted to force that engage much quicker if they could have done, and on their terms, realistically.
This is good response. They're going to be able to get this turret. The Infernal Drake does spawn. That's going to go the way of DKG unless they're quick to react. They are going to try to get close. No, they don't have any vision. They can't get close to this pit, so they happily just take that top turret. But Gold's going to keep on swinging the way of DKG. The bot turret almost certainly will fall here.
And I think a discussion to be had here, D-Man, is that, yes, okay, they pick up the Rift Herald, but the question is, what does Rift Herald get you? What is the value of that particular objective? Well, most of the time it's a turret, right? Most of the time the best case scenario for Rift Herald is a turret. Lovely clear of the wave there.
5-man push. Tremor gonna get away from this. The wave's already been used, but here comes the rest of the team. Emo arrives, and now Weber's on the scene. They've already lost Trevor down, and you can see Asa running for his life, but they have to backtrack away, and that is a Rift Herald that got them absolutely nothing.
And I think that draws back to what we were just talking about. Like, Rift Herald's value, most of the time, best case scenario, is a tower. If you're very lucky and you're very ahead, sometimes 2 towers. If you trade Rift Herald for a tower, you're already down on that objective value, right? You're already losing out on what that objective was designed to give you. So the best case scenario is that you use it to get a particular tower that you want, or you use it to create a bit of pressure in a lane when there's another objective that you're more concerned about. A mid-lane tower being a great, example of that. DKG just nullified that instantly. YK again just trying to prevent that tower from dropping, but it will be a pickup for Team Secret, but they have lost so much in the process that these are just small scraps that they're scraping off the floor when DKG are running the show.
Well, the danger, of course, of losing those mid-turrets is the vision that it gives you. Now, timeouts coming from DKG's wards are going to go down, but they did manage to get the Scuttle Crab, so they have good river vision at the moment, does Team Secret, but you can see the gold. 6,000 gold in the favor of DKG, and that's not really stacked on one person. It's pretty much spread, smattered across everybody. You can see all the carriers all with 2,000 plus gold advantages at the moment. So it's a little worrisome come the next team fight, how far behind they're going to be. A couple of items popping in though for Team Secret and DKG as they set themselves up. Of course, the Baron would be the next, but most certainly the next objective will be that Drake. And at the moment, DKG is starting to get their ward dominance.
And I still think, unfortunately, if you're Team Secret, you can't team fight. I'm gonna say, oh, Traver. That's the flush away. I think if you're Team Secret, you can't team fight. You know, you have the inferior item spikes right now. You have the inferior team fight right now. Like, I think Orianna needs that Rabadon Death Cap to really have the impact that she's hoping for. We have a flank, though.
Oh, that's a wave that I'm not convinced about. Asa is trying to flank, but where's he going to flank into? 5 members of DKG? I don't think so. Run the hell away from that one, and that's an engage that just didn't work. And, well, the ulti obviously used out from Hammers there to get that tidal wave down. Just didn't catch anything. Now Hammers is having to back away. And what is still happening? Asa has got to soak that top lane, so they're aware that they're going to lose objectives. Asa, you've got to be careful. They're going to try and collapse.
And I think, you know, when we look back at the gold, even though you were saying it's so spread, I want to reiterate the story of this team and the story of DKG always has been about flavor. And again, the gold reflects it. He is 2,500 gold as the jungler ahead of anybody else in his team. He is the story of this team. This is the guy that they play around. They facilitate him. They build comps around him. And every single game, without fail, he accelerates that gold lead far beyond anyone else in the game. Even in their loss versus Team Secret, he was wildly ahead of the game, you know, in terms of the gold value. Now, it looks like Team Secret is saying, yeah, they're rushing it.
Rushing the Baron. I mean, they came straight out, got the wall stamp, but look at that, they're spotted instantly. Emo goes in. Emo's so confident, he goes in for Trevor, and they get him! Wind and Emo, that was it. That was 2 people versus 5, and they backed away and gave it up.
Still going in the fight here. YK flashes back into the pit.
Nothing they can do about it. That's going to get picked up. Weber will focus this one, and DKG should just run through the rest of Team Secret now with that Baron buff. Weber, he is an unstoppable machine. Counter-strike comes through. You're not going to get away from that one, son. Big bonk on the head. Yo comes through. Tatsuri can't do a thing. There's no hero moments coming out from Zed this time around. The Orianna is simple cannon fodder, and it is an ace, and the Baron goes to DKG.
And this might even just be the game with that Baron minion set up so well on the top side of the map here. DKG pushing in. Trable the only one to bend.
Yeah, we know how quickly that can fall, especially with Weber on Jax. He will just pummel down the Nexus. And just like that, when Team Secret tried to set up a play, it's DKG that take everything in their favor.
And I feel, because I think Team Secret knew that that was the only way that they were going to get a fight to happen on their terms. Like, again, 0 proactive engage options other than the Nami wave, which is so telegraphed and so easy to deal with if you're DKG. And unfortunately for Team Secret, that going to objectives and being the first to set up on the objectives is the only way you can draw DKG into a situation where you think you might be able to win. And I think for Team Secret right there, they weren't actually concerned about team fighting. They were like, Waver's on the bottom side of the map. Maybe we have enough time to burst this Baron down before he gets here. But as you mentioned, it was Yo, just jumping in essentially with the support 1v5, 2v5, able to kind of distract long enough for Hueva to actually join the fight. I think Team Secret, unfortunately, were not able to effectively punish that, those styles because there was no proactivity. You took all proactivity away from Tatsuri on the Orianna. He couldn't hold the side lane versus the Diana and even versus the Jax when Hueva translated over towards that. So my issue with Team Secret's drafts are why, when you've just given Tatsuri one of the most proactive solo lane picks ever, able to just force 1v1s whenever he likes on that Zed, why have you just stuck him on an Orianna the next game? Because he can't do anything. He has to sit there and rely on everybody else to kind of do the hard work for him. And that is what I want Team Secret not to do. Team Secret need to play through Tatsuri. They need to play through Azar where possible. And if they don't, they are going to get slaughtered in this next game. They need to reflect what worked well in game 2 versus what went badly wrong in game 1 and 3.
Yeah, if you've got a player in form, make use of him. When he's just done so well on that Zed, you really need to put something in his hands that's able to turn it around for him. And, we were talking about the bot lane, how they're going to have to play through the bot lane. Didn't really work, did it? Didn't work. Let's get over, though, to La Tigris. Get over in Singapore. Obviously getting the pulse of the players over there with Omo and Grandon.
Thank you, D-Man. Yeah, a bit of slowing of the pulse on the time, on the side rather, of Team Secret in that game. Welcome back to the ground floor in Singapore. While we did have a lot of contention in game number 2, it felt a lot more to one side back once again in game number 3.
Yeah, and in my books, this one came entirely from a draft gap. Team Secret's comp, it seemed to me like it gave them very little opportunities to play with, and I felt that, you know, DKG's draft just looked 10 times better to me.
Gabby, I'm about to come to blows with Leonard.
Right.
Disagreeing about
I need to get between you two right now.
I'm about to get come to blows with Leonard because he's telling me that this comp is unplayable from the draft, but I think that Secret, you know, this is difficult to play, but it's not impossible. And then he's going on about how if you have an even game for 10 minutes, you can play it. That's what happened this game.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call a game state even when your opponent team gets the Herald and then stops you from taking Dragon, comes over, takes the Dragon, kills you on the next Herald, and it just leaves you with no options to play. That's the way, yeah, this one played out for me.
It was one of the smaller gold leads that we have seen from DKG early on. Is there anything to be taken from that?
I feel like DKG are taking it a little bit more careful because they feel like Secret will end up making these bad mistakes towards the end. Because Secret, I think where I do agree with Omo is that they felt like they had nothing they could do on the map. They wanted to rush the Baron because they thought that was their window into the game. DKG say, we expect you to do something like that. It may not be the Baron, it may be the other, it may be a turret. Either way, you playing to us, we'll get you in the late game.
To me, the Baron play, as well as a lot of the plays this game that Team Secret tried to actively make, such as using Nami Tidal Wave as a proactive tool, just screamed desperation to me. And I think they need to go back to the tools that they had in Game 2 to be proactive on the map and to make something happen.
We did go into game number 2 when we were talking here on this analyst desk about wanting to see something like the Nami come out, but it sounds like you're wanting to see some other picks alongside of it. So is there kind of a blend between taking a Lucian in the top lane to, okay, maybe not as much initiative here in game 3?
To me, the thing that is screaming out to me, the two glaring points of this draft to me, I'm fine with the Lucian Nami. I like that a lot. I think that you can't be picking Graves blind when you know Hueba's Jax is up and available and he's going to run the game on that. Number 2, I don't think you should be prioritizing Orianna over Zed when Tatsuri was popping off of that.
Yeah, bringing it to some of the strength over on the side of DKG, right? You can't not mention the Jax, the fact that Hueba was on this pick, and we also didn't see something like the Zed come out. Wasn't really a high priority going on to the middle part of the series.
Secret feels like they went into the series and you took their draft and you put it into, you cross-checked it with all their regional games, their C Championship games, whatever you want to take a look at. It feels like the exact same composition. It doesn't feel like that one that's been tailored for DKG. It just feels like they're playing the same things they want to play.
I know that Team Secret, we're always looking to see what they're going to come through with the evolution of this draft, and I think it's fair to say that the series itself is already evolving in a particular direction. But are there any weaknesses that you see from DKG? Because there are moments where Hueba's getting a bit confident, you know, going into enemy territory, if you're looking even in the loss, where that was punished a bit.
Look, the thing I'm going to say is I think DKG, they're just too strong individually, too strong as a team, too strong mechanically, team fighting, everything, macro. They're so good at everything that if you really want to beat this team and you want to find a way into the series again, you need to find tools for your individual players to pop off, like that Tatsuri's at.
Yeah, would you say that's the tool that you're looking at, Grandin? Is it getting Tatsuri on a carry pick, or is there something else that we can look at?
Absolutely. Get Tatsuri in a carry pick. Why not get Azan a carry pick too? Give him that Lucian again. I'm looking forward to see something like that.
Yeah, we didn't get to check in here on the disc after that game number 2. I know that we had a bit of hesitancy seeing Azar on the Lucian, and it even took a bit for it to pick off in that game number 2.
He stepped up when it mattered. In the late game team fights, when he got 3 items, he really was popping off in the team fights. But I think up to that point, he was very lackluster, and it took a lot of just heavy lifting, really, from Trevor on the Jarvan, Tatsuri on the Zed, Maz on that Gragas, and you can't forget the Ziggs pick as well. These picks were also valuable in getting Azar to the late game.
Yeah, Ziggs continuing to be such a priority here at Horizon Cup. I believe still 100% win rate coming through. Do you think it's justified for this to be coming out as a pick continuously, or should any of the teams be pivoting?
I think it is. It just fits so easily into either composition. If DKG don't get it, it just feels like Team Secret can kind of cover their weaknesses a little bit because it helps you with a lot of your macro mistakes, helps you clear out waves a lot better. So you just have so much more freedom to make errors and still be able to come back in.
To put it into context, right? Team Secret on red side in game 2, they picked the Ziggs and they destroyed the game with it. And they said, this pick is so strong, we're going to ban it next game. We don't want to risk you first.
Ban it ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to ban it ourselves.
While it was a bit more of a dominating performance again in game number 3 from DKG, we do have that back and forth, and I think audiences are looking forward to that for sure. We are going to be stepping away, but soon enough we will have that game number 4 between DKG and Team Secret. As we go, though, check out Team Secret's fan-voted battle anthem, Unstoppable by the Score. You can find it in other team battle anthems by visiting the Wild Rift profile and official Horizon Cup playlist on Spotify. Check it out.
of a kind, homie. I be trying to vibe on the wave. I'm a big vibe on the wave. Look.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the semi-finals of the Wild Rift Horizon Cup. DKG now 2-1 up over Team Secret, the Chinese powerhouse. And what was the first team to qualify, if I'm not mistaken, of all the teams? Long ago now. It does feel like a long ago. And, you know, I'm just seeing people in chat saying Team Secret overrated. I'm like, what are you on about? You know, this is the semi-finals of the Horizon Cup. This is like the best of the best of the best. They've gone through an absolute gauntlet to be here through the Southeast Asia Championships, you know, taking down, getting that revenge story yesterday over SBTC. But today is a tough one. There's no doubt about it. You know, up against DKG, Excandrel. This is going to be a pick and ban. Match point for DKG, and this time they are over on the red side.
Yeah, Team Secret opted into blue side pick this time round here. And I think we're going to see the Garras, and I fully agree with you, by the way, D-Man, fully agree. These teams right here are the best of the best in their regions. Even if China is just that much far ahead, you know, Team Secret is still an incredible team. And they've even taken a game. They can do it. They can do it when they play a certain style. When they shut down Hueba, they can beat DKG. It's just that when DKG allowed free reign to do what they want, and Hueba is able to absorb that much gold and play side lane so heavily, that's kind of their comfort zone, right? That is DKG's massive comfort zone, and that's what they do so well game after game. Zig's ban on blue side here was very interesting.
Blown away by these bans. Absolutely blown away. So, okay, so Fiora Thucha, so Camille available. Obviously, there's a ton available. The fact that the Garen and Varas drew bans is very surprising to me for Team Secret. Maybe they were expecting sort of the Varas to get locked in early. They are going to favour that Renekton though once again.
Wouldn't be too surprised maybe to see the Camille rotate towards the jungle for Trevor, because that is something that he will play, and obviously it is now available for them if they do want it. Renekton is, though, a very high prio on blue side one for Azar here. It's a strong mid-game teamfight tool. Generally doesn't have many weaknesses in the game right now, but Zed is denied as a first rotation on red side here. Let's see what they pick up as well, because obviously Jax is available. We also have Graves, which is one of Hueba's best picks, by the way, which we haven't even yet seen him on. So we've got lots of options, but the Jarvan comes through here. That must be for YK. There's not a world where they put Hueba on Jarvan. So if you're Team Secret, you've got to know that that's going into the Renekton top side.
Absolutely, which does leave a lot of options for Team Secret. Maybe this is what they were banking on with those bans. It does leave Senna. This is the first time we're going to see him in this series. We have mentioned that it's been available all the way through, along with the Gragas. So it's going to be the Senna bot lane with the Gragas. That's a strong lane.
Yeah, it's been untouched this entire series. Brand! Have we seen a Brand this tournament? That's a question.
Jeez, that's one for the stats guys right out there. I'm not sure about that one.
I'm not sure. It is a pick that received a couple of nerfs coming into the Horizon Cup, and therefore I think lost a lot of power level. But Brand is a very interesting pickup for me, and that could be flex both mid and support. I imagine with the Zed lock-in is probably going to be support, and then we're going to see the Jax come through for Hueba once more. So that's an interesting pickup right now for DKG. Very on brand for them to go for something so wacky in that support role.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the Jax coming in from Hueba, we know exactly what that is all about. It does leave a possibility for the Graves, something like that, maybe to see what Trevor's going to go with. Trevor wants to have something to get him going, of course, with that Lee Sin band out there. The Vi! That's very on point with Arcane coming through today. No spoilers, guys, in chat if you're out there. I've just called for it now, haven't I? Oh, the Fizz as well. Oh my word. Team Secret throwing everything out there.
They absolutely are, and that is, again, another strong, proactive. So 0 picks and 1 ban for Brand this entire Horizon Cup, and they pick up the Fizz as well. You know, Tatsuri, that gives him a lot of proactivity, can search for the 1v1s, similar kind of potential to the Zed here for Tatsuri. And then, what on earth am I watching?
Well, Maxman right now is like dancing around his living room, I think, but yeah, a Blitzcrank coming in.
So Brand, like for wind, and then Emo playing the Blitzcrank here.
I mean, you're going for a feast? I don't. My brain can't compute. It's melting down. I like these comps. I like to see something different. And with match point for DKG, I mean, okay, what's the theory here? What's the theory? Schedule. I'll give you a moment to consider.
Well, okay, Senna's pretty bad. Senna's very weak into hard engage, right? So, you know, maybe the idea for DKG's bot lane is that maybe in the 2v2 they can search for a hook onto Senna or an early hook onto Gragas. But it is very interesting to me that later on into the game, you know, you're not looking to teamfight at all for DKG, so maybe looking for those individual picks, and obviously you're trying to rotate Flavor and maybe Yo to the side lanes and look for a more 1-3-1 orientated approach while Brand just clears those waves out. For Team Secret, though, you know, you've got a strong side lane threat in the form of Fizz, but you can very easily teamfight with this team. Like, it's a strong teamfight presence. You can play very back to front or front to back with the center pick. But this is definitely not something that I've seen. So I'm more in kind of learning mode at this point, D-Man. I'm looking at the sort of the addition of the Blitzcrank to this roster. I'm thinking, what is it providing? Like, it's providing pick potential, of course, but who are you wanting to pick in Team Secret? Which realistically, the best answer is, well, maybe you catch out Chewy, but that's about it, right?
Yeah. That's why I didn't understand. I mean, you got a Fizz in there, so you're not going to be catching the fish. You pull a Vi, a Renekton, a Gragas in there, you don't want them. Send them back.
But then are you even looking for pulls at all? Is it maybe just a threat of the Blitzcrank enough, and that you're using that to provide a bit of space to allow Flavor and Yo to do whatever they want elsewhere on the map? I don't know. It's an interesting one. Let's see. This is a learning game for me. Dakun definitely pulling out things that we have not seen in competitive thus far, and we're going to see how they try to operate it. It feels like a bit of a... I mean, they must have a game plan for it, and this is like match point for them. This is series point for them. So they must have a game plan for it, because you don't want to give the opportunity for Team Secret to even come back in the 5th game and deal with you. So Dakun clearly have a very particular plan with this very unique lock-in on the bot side of the map.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Match point for DKG, 2-1 up in the series in the semi-finals of the Wild Rift Horizon Cup. The players all playing out in Singapore. And now, who will be the finalists? Will DKG get there, or Team Secret turn it around once again and immediately? The bait, the fish, the stomps, everything in the mid. The prowess of the junglers just trying to help out, soak up that little bit of XP. Where is the lane? Okay, they're up the top.
So are we playing...
Starving Senna with top?
No.
With Asa?
Yeah, okay, so they're...
Solo Gragas. I mean, he can solo it, 2v1.
James is solo. They've taken Senna out of the Blitzcrank lane, and they're playing Fasting Senna with Renekton top. So they're playing super strong top side. They're going to try and prevent from YK from sort of having the same kind of support on the top side of the map that he did previously. They're trying to lock down maybe the power of Yo's rotations to that top side of the map here. And they're definitely throwing a kilter maybe on Hueva's normal play.
So, is this going to get or what? I'm not sure. He's got no items. Maybe he's saving up for something special. Something special. We'll find out. He's putting some good damage down on Winmo. He's going to step away. Has already taken down that. Trevor tries to come up the top to help out. Hueva's there. Here comes Emo. And they're going for the lane switch around here, or trying at least to try and punish the fact that that's working out. That may not work out for them at the moment. Tatsuri's going to try and come up and help out. The Scud Grab is the fight that they want. I'm not sure Tatsuri wants to get involved on this one, though. They're going in for Yo. I didn't see who got it. It was Team Secret that got the crab. Okay,
yeah,
that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. They smite it away. That's a win. But obviously, we're going to get a bit of mid-lane prio coming out from Yo here. And that will allow Flavor to just trade on the bottom side of the map. They have now rotated Emo up. We now have a 1v1 between James.
Oh, great catch. Great stun. Does go through. And that's going to put the pressure. And they do get themselves first blood. YK goes down. Emo pulls into the turret. But that's going to do nothing for Chewy. And it's Asa they get going.
That is a very, very sort of heavy overextension from YK there. Didn't really need to be that far up in the lane. Trevor now making his way up to the top side as well. They're going to push this wave in and try and deny as much as they can. I will say that YK will get back in time. This is definitely throwing a bit of a kilter into DKG's normal rotational plans, like the way they play around the map. We'll take a look back at the replay here and you can see Azar just jumps in. They get the combo lock up onto YK. And Azar with that ignite will just pick up the first kill on the game. That's a nice little adaptation from Team Secret here. And I'm just very interested. This has been a wild game all round so far.
And now we see Trevor on the Vi waiting to get involved. I feel like I should call her Violet these days. I'm not sure if Vi's enough anymore. But anyway, gonna go and get the hammers down. The fist comes in. That's a brilliant explosive catch, forcing him in. Can they get the kill on to win? That's what they have to get here. They have to make it count, but has he gone too deep? It's gonna take a second tower hit. Emo not going up to back it up, and the gank pays off, which is something that hasn't worked in the first 3 games.
And that was very telegraphed because they knew exactly where he was. Look at the red side vision. He walked through Tribrush. They knew he was there. He hadn't walked past the scuttle, and he was walked through the Tribrush. So they were baiting, clearly. DKG were trying to bait that one out, but Wynn's just a little bit overextended, a little misplay off the back of that right there. And right now, Team Secret, for the first time ever, I think, are up in gold at that 4-minute mark as we head towards these first 2 objectives.
And this is what we've been talking about. Play through your lane phases. They know they can be strong in the lane phases, but now this is where they have kind of drifted away from the game a couple of times too many. You are stood on a ward, boys. You're kind of obvious there, just saying. But yeah, once that Rift Tower comes up, the Mountain Drake down there as well, this is where the game slipped away from them. But Team Secret not pushing the pace here. Chewy's got to be careful. He's still stood on the wall. There's 4 players coming towards him, and I think he's going to be able to flash away, but it's enough. No, the Cataclysm comes in. They realize, oh, too deep. Trevor goes down there. I'm not sure about going back in because Chewy gets dragged in, but still gets away with it. Finally drops down, and they can turn this in their favor. Win goes down, and it's a 1-for-1. Technically, both carries going down.
Yeah, absolutely. Tatsuri has used his ultimate, though. A lot of key abilities now no longer available for Team Secret, and you can see the Yo going to land a combo onto Trable, who does have that assault and battery ready to go. They're going to stick to this fight.
Trevor has to get in there. He's going to try and charge it up. Goes around the side. The spike fight will come through. Who's going to get it? It will be going over to Team Secret. Trevor gets it just before he dies. Weber also was picked up though, so still a 1-for-1. But more importantly, oh, the flash out of the way from the grab.
Team Secret. They are challenging Dakun Gaming at the start of the game, and I kind of need to reflect back and break down exactly how we've got to this situation, because clearly it was a lane swap. We don't see too many of those in Wild Rift now because of the changes. Take a look back at the Axe replay here. You can see they knew that Chewy was there. You mentioned it earlier. He wasn't a ward, but he doesn't get burst down quickly enough. Uses that ultimate to buy some time. And Emo, with an absolutely insane hook, lands the ignite and takes Chewy out of the fight very early on. But here we go. Tatsuri, the power of giving proactivity back to that mid laner, is able to pick up wind on the brand, very weak to the fizz engage. And again, because of this lane swap, it's made Hueba's normal farming path a little bit more awkward. You can see that he is not even the most fed on his team, which usually at 6 minutes into the game he is. He's usually pretty significantly ahead of his opposite number as well. But this time round, he hasn't had that same kind of efficiency in the jungle.
DKG grab comes in, and that locks Chewy completely up. So they're already 1 man down before this dragon fight begins. Trevor comes in and gets the smite down as well ahead of Trevor. Didn't work out for him. Yo manages to get in and out. And Team Secret just give up on this, guys. You didn't get the objective. You lost the man. It was a 1-for-1 in the end because Trevor went down. YK goes back in. I'm not sure about that engagement, buddy. He will fall down. The Cataclysm keeps Team Secret in there. But I'll tell you what, they're happy about the kill.
They absolutely are. They will take the free gold where you can get it. They do pick up the Mountain Dragon, so I'm sure DKG will feel that is worth. We'll take a look back here again. Just a brilliant pick. The only target that counts, again, from Emo on Chewy. And Quaver jumps in, lands the smite wall. Unfortunately, does get taken down by the rest of TC for a able to collapse on him. And Yo, doing what he can to provide a bit of distraction with the ultimate. We'll take a look back, and this was... overall, again, I'm really praising Team Secret for the way they've kind of put Quaver on the back foot a little bit here. He has kind of accelerated his gold ever so slightly. He's managed to clear up that topside jungle and picked up a load more resources. Tatsuri at 3-0-1 in this fizz. Man, it's like we knew this was going to happen. It's like when we gave Tatsuri something where he can actually make plays. He actually makes plays. And that's, a great start for Tatsuri here. He's working towards that Lich Bane second item as well. Once that's finished up, very powerful two-item combo in the fizz, which is going to make life pretty difficult for both Quaver, Yo, and Wind.
Oh, Hammer's getting pulled in. Should be able to slide himself out of there. Emo trying to make these plays, trying to get it working, but at the moment, not quite as successful. Talking about mid laners, obviously Yo on the other side on the Zed, as he was successful in game 1, is doing a great job once again in game 2, the highest gold earner at the moment in the game. And as you mentioned about Huebo, we've got to keep an eye on him because obviously ordinarily we would see him given all this gold in this soak. Meanwhile down the Dragon Lane, it's going to be DKG taking the first turret of the game. Pretty much uncontested. I'll tell you what, someone's going to contest it because they're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep trying to push on this top lane, but this is going to cost them a tier 2 turret. And Team Secret, they have to play the objective game, not get caught in this bloodlust.
Oh, they went for it. The assault and battery onto Huebo there. They saw blood in the water. But I think now with the Rift Tower, they may even be able to punish and go for the tier 1 mid lane.
I tell you what, they're going to back. I was going to say, I think they could have get going. I think they could have get going, but they are going to back and respect it. They know that they're going to get the Rift Herald here. It should slam down onto that turret. It will take it down, and it will finish things off. So Team Secret equal things out to 2-2, but I'm not too sure. Losing that tier 2 turret, not worth, I don't think, stuff.
Well, mid lane tier 1 is a really big bounty to take in sort of response, though. So I will say that opens up the map pretty heavily. However, the setup now for the Rift Herald is much better. And that might be the second Rift Herald of the game here secured for DKG.
Going in first, he's a little too late to the party, and now DKG going to try and turn this one down. Good Fist goes down, the knockup's there, and now this is going to be DKG turning it back in their favor. Trevor goes down, Tatsuri gets the focus, Yo's going to get him down. That's a 3 for 1 so far. Weber the only man to fall. They also got the Rift Herald, which they can throw down straight away in the mid here, and that's a real problem. Just as Team Secret, they got the game in their hands, and they let it slip like that.
I feel like they just had to say, okay, we got stopped on the back there. We didn't have the setup for the Rift Herald. We didn't need to go for it. We take a look back at that fight, and you can see Emo just hovering in that pixel brush. Trevor walks straight into the fight. Yo there immediately with the ultimate to force him out. You can see he has to charge away from the engage rather than into it. Great use of the counter-strike there from Weber to kind of dodge the majority of the damage in that team fight. And Tatsuri, the only real threat, he does get cleaned up by Yo. And once Tatsuri's down, that's a lot of the power in these team fights kind of limited immediately. And of course, they were all grouped up for Brand. Wind got huge damage off in that team fight, and he has been relatively under the radar so far for DKG. So it was a good little response for him in that team fight too.
A very important team fight coming up. Ocean Drake squad. This could be Team Secret's tournament careers here as they try and go for it. James was the focus. Trevor goes in deep at the moment. They are caught 4 man in a cataclysm. They've got to get the damage down. It's now or never for Team Secret. They do manage to get one locked up. The stasis comes out. Is it going to be enough? James is teetering. He's not sure. He doesn't feel like committing, and the rest of DKG are on the cleanup duty now as Yo comes through unstoppable once again. And Team Secret wither away, and I feel that may be the pivotal fight that costs them this tournament.
Yeah, DKG just again so precise, peel back so nicely around Flavor. You can see the entire team collapse around him on that fight. Yo was not even in the fight. He was playing side lane pressure, being the guy with the most gold in the game right now. But by the time he joins, he gets a full combo off on 4 members of Team Secret, just delivering a boatload of damage. He's now 3 items, by the way, with the Seralda's Grudge just finished up. Excellent play from DKG to buy enough time for Yo to make his way into that fight too. And again, you have 5 man stacked on top of each other versus a Brand. That is a recipe for disaster. And I think as well, Team Secret paid the price on that.
Absolutely. It's definitely a different game for Win. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, I don't know how often he's got to play Brand in the bot lane there, or the Dragon lane. Or actually, I don't really know, because he was kind of like here, there. It was in the Baron lane, the Dragon lane. I'm not too sure what lane he chose in the end. But either way, Team Secret, well, they are chasing it a little bit here. Trevor, oh no! Just about dodges away from the rocky grab there. And don't re-engage, guys. I'm not too sure this is the right choice. You have 0 ward coverage. They've got to realize the bush is there. But look at Weber. That's the danger of Jax. He could just hammer down those turrets. And now they have to respect it. They have to back away. They've got really 0 vision out there.
No, I understand what Team Secret were trying to do. They were trying to say, well, look, we can't stop him getting the tower, so we're trying to get mid lane prio so that we can maybe get a setup on the mid lane tier 2. But DKG with the Brand, that's a long-range fish attempt there from Team Secret, and that, to me, shows where they are mentally in the game. They feel like they have to make these kind of like 1 in 10 chance plays to kind of force some kind of small skirmish that can work in their favor, because right now the side lanes are becoming untenable for them. They can't deal with this 12k Jax and this 12k gold Zed either. And so they have to kind of go for these crazy team fight engages, using Tatsuri as the engage tool to potentially try and find their way back in. But right now, Weber and Yo, they're in a prime position to carry themselves through to the finals.
Yeah, Trevor just stood on top of a wall. It's that dangerous moment. It's the rocket grab about to come through. Is he going to step forward? Trevor, if you go down here, it is a Baron, no doubt about it, for DKG. They're just tracking him. They're tracking him into another ward. The rocket grab comes through. It doesn't matter. They're just going to commit. He can't get out of this one. He goes down. And that will be a Baron, almost certainly for DKG.
Or at least they're going to set up the bait for it as well. You can see Weber has made his way to the top side of the map here. Again, mid lane Prio is the name of the game for Team Secret there. Desperately trying to get something out of a rough situation. I feel for Trevor. I don't think he could have done anything other than this, but you can see the rest of Team Secret know this is the fight they have to take.
Hammers trying to get involved. Is he going to be able to get anything out of this one? Explosive Casket still available. Has to use it now. Tries to disperse them. Flashes away. Tries to dash away. He has separated DKG very well, but it doesn't matter when they could just chase him down so easily. And that will be a Baron for DKG. Why do they stick to it? They've got to respect this, and they're going to respond. They're going to go for this mid lane tower push. They should get around in time. Oh no! Team Secret couldn't pick it up.
Did you know what? Credit Team Secret. They are trying to get themselves out of these rough situations. The mid lane Prio name of the game again. They're saying, well, you go for Baron. Yeah, you go for Baron. We're going to take your inhibitor tower, but they're going to go straight onto Azar here.
Ooh, I tell you what, he took him low. Azar trying to work it round onto Yo there. Yo was taken very low, and in comes Tatsuri. Might be able to turn it round, and I think he realized there's a lot of damage coming out of that crocodile.
Yeah. Again, not a great one to go for as a Zed. It's not your prime target, especially because he's got the stasis enchant picked up as well. And also you can immediately sort of like point and tap stun the Zed as he pops out of his ultimate. So it's always a rough one as a Zed to try and take down a Renekton, especially when the Renekton's got 11k gold. But at the end of the day, it's still DKG who are just about keeping themselves foot front here. They've got 7k, 8k gold lead. Actually, they've got 7k gold lead. What am I saying?
Maths is always hard online, but that's for sure. Oh wow, that's Hammers disappearing pretty quickly. The Yo is going to be possibly the focus target here. Trevor does come in. Can he get him down? Yes, he can. So at the moment it's a 1 for 2, but look at Weber. Weber just absolutely mashing buttons right now. Doesn't need to do too much there. Thumbs will be working wonders. Choey goes down, and that is going to be all that's left. Azza, the one-man up river. And Weber, I tell you what, they might be able to just work straight through. 20-second death time, this could be game.
It could be. At least it's, at the very least, an inhibitor tower. Azar needs to be careful not to give his life away here. He's the only thing standing between Team Secret and being knocked out of the tournament.
Azar going to get focused. He's going to get locked down, and that should be the Nexus. It's going to be GG DKG as they go through to the finals. China, #1, delivers over Southeast Asia, and they have looked phenomenal throughout this entire tournament.
They looked the better team in almost all of their games. You've got to remember that the early game, in Game 2 where Team Secret won, was still a game where DKG were leading for the majority. It was just some excellent team play and Tatsuri having a pop-off game that allowed them to get back in. Let's celebrate DKG though. They came in as tournament favorites. Sometimes the weight of that favorite is sort of on your shoulders and it can often cause you to underperform where it absolutely counts. DKG have never done that. Not at one stage in the tournament have they underperformed. And they go straight into those finals, undoubtedly as the favorites for the entire title. What a team we're looking at.
It was certainly an unorthodox final matchup. There's no doubt about it. We got to see the brand down in the Dragon lane. You know, we saw some shenanigans going on with the Senna going up in the top lane or the Baron lane with Azza there. But it was, you know, this game kind of had everything in there. We finally got to see the Fizz coming out. Tatsuri looked like he was about to pop off, but DKG, their control and their discipline, I think it's best to say, in terms of fights and when and when not to go for the objectives, absolutely paying off again.
I think you're looking at a team that has just defined the meta here at the Horizon Cup. They themselves have set a new style that teams have tried to emulate. Teams have found success with it. Team Secret, one of the teams that has found success with the DKG style. There were several games in the group stages where Trebor played the Jax, the Fiora, the same way that we saw Hueba do it for DKG. But when they matched up, it was DKG that had their number pretty much every stage of the way. And DKG haven't had to pivot hard either. You know, there was questions about whether that single-minded style of DKG was going to be enough to get them through a very, very sort of flexible and varied style of play that we saw from Team Secret. But it absolutely was. DKG, like, honestly, they crushed it in every stage in this series. They really did. And I think Team Secret, all credit to them for finding that second win. But I think DKG were the better team here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We are seeing what is the potential champion here in DKG. We said it from the very first game when we saw them against SBTC. We were saying, you know, there were odds-on favorites coming into this tournament. China's #1 team, and they've proved it every step of the way. You know, they went, what, 8-1, I think, in the groups. They're just dropping a single game, just dropping another single game here. So only 2 games in the entirety of the tournament, which is actually all they dropped, I think, throughout the entirety of their qualifiers as well, if I'm not mistaken. And they find themselves in the finals against, well, what is either going to be China or Korea right now, as obviously Rolster Y will be taking on Thunder Talk next. It's really looking very good for China, no doubt about it. What a fantastic game. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first finalist, DKG. Let's see what the State Farm Analyst Desk has to say about it.
Thanks, D-Man. That's right. Dakun Gaming has advanced to the Horizon Cup Finals. A valiant effort by the Philippines' Team Secret, but it was just not enough against the DKG Juggernaut as they go through 3-1. And Smax, I turn to you first here. This match started with the lane swap. We looked at the draft, and Team Secret tried to do a lot of unique things in this one, not just the draft, to get leads.
This was definitely the craziest game of the 4 for me. Just off the bat, like you said, the lane swap of the Senna helping out, trying to get Azar fed by having the extra support and having the extra priority. You can see a lot of fights start erupting around the Baron side of the map as well, trying their best to avoid this really cool Blitzcrank and Brand lane dominant duo that DKG tried to draft. And I thought this game was the best showing from Team Secret, even after they did win the second game, just because of that strategy.
Yeah, and the brand itself coming through with the Blitzcrank, two picks that we didn't see before in the Horizon Cup pick for the first time. It was all about pushing the 2v2 advantage for DKG. That was their plan going in, and especially since they have a Zed in the mid lane who could constantly roam down and get kills, which makes it all the more impressive that Team Secret recognized that plan and lane swapped the Senna to go with the Renekton instead of the Gragas and got leads in the early game and saved themselves a lot of pain. I think it's still a lot of credit goes to Team Secret regardless of the overall outcome of the game.
Yeah, but my question is going to be to both of my big brain analysts here. It feels like they had something figured out in game number 2. They ban away multiple different, don't give the Jax over. And then all of a sudden, we're giving the Jax over, it's left open. Yeah. What's happening here, Smax? Why do they do that?
It definitely felt like they started panicking in the draft phase, especially irrelevant in game 3, where they left open the Jax and drafted 3 champions that are really susceptible to getting beat up by Jax the Graves, Renekton, and Lucian. This game was a little bit different. They did pack a little bit more of an early game punch with this Fizz for Tatsuri, which did look really solid. But again, it was really just a draft panic. They had the Jax ban in first 2 games. I don't know why they dropped it.
Yeah, it was really weird to see them find a blueprint to beating DKG and then immediately move away from it. I think replacing the Jax ban with Ziggs didn't make a lot of sense given that they were offering so many options to DKG that DKG had to make a choice. They had to make a hard choice of whether do we first pick the Ziggs or give it over to Team Secret. So it was surprising to see, but at the same time, I mean, DKG is such a good team that they force you into these situations where you have to overthink yourself and put yourself at some point in a bad situation.
Well, even with these results, a great tournament here for Team Secret. They get rid of their demons in defeating SBTC, and they take a game off of DKG, who head to the finals, which leads us to our Oppo player of the series. And it goes to Emo on DKG here.
Yeah, I was really excited watching his play on the Rakan and even on the Blitzcrank as well, which is a very unorthodox champion. I'm a sucker for some good support play, and I feel like both him and James really delivered in this series. but of course, Emo ended up with the better end of the deal. I especially like this play where he sees this really juicy 4-man engage, instead goes for the priority target instead. I really loved his engages throughout this series, and I think he deserves a lot of credit where you'd usually think, oh, Hueba's the big pop-off performer. I think Emo really deserved it here.
You know, and the great part about the series for DKG is the fact that we kind of had an idea on what they were doing. We actually, not kind of, we knew what they were doing. It was built around Hueba. But you had a couple of players step up like Emo, like Yo in that last one. That's going to give a lot of people something to think about in the next series here, Rocky.
Yeah, I'm also loving that Zed is becoming such a priority for these top 4 teams. I mean, we know Z on Thunder Talk loves to play Zed. We know Izak has shown it before. And now Yo also showing up big on it. It seems like it's a really popular pick that maybe went a little bit undervalued throughout the tournament, and we're finally getting to see it more and more.
All right, well, it's time to break down our second match of the day. It's Z and the crew from China's Thunder Talk Gaming versus the Surgical Squad from Korea, Rolster Y. And for Rolster Y's, Izak making the semifinals was always the goal, and now they have their hearts set on winning it all. Let's take a listen.